Hello everybody and welcome back to the final action and welcome back to the session number 2 as it's about to unfold to see which one of the players will get the benefit of the first 17 frames. It will be very interesting to see what's going to happen now. As you can see on your screen, the stats certainly tell you that it is a bit of a shocker that Shaun Murphy finds himself in a position to be in a draw, of course when based off the breaks and the point score, but at the same time, if you look at the match history, you'll be able to see that Yize will be feeling just like that because of how much of a lead he's managed to build very early on in the match. So probably, if you look at it from 2 points of view, then you probably have to say it does look like it is deserved for the scoreline to be exactly what it is, and that's down to it being very much the bottom line of it as well, because if you feel like that's the case, then it certainly will come down to a bit of a problem out there to be made, and well, still, I feel like it's going to be very much a great entertainment and great snooker match for us to see as well, because ultimately it will come down to the match to be played in between Yize and Shaun Murphy here to try and get themselves to be edging out in front, because ultimately this one is not going to be looking any more towards the draw here, because as much as we've seen plenty of those, especially in the first and the second couple of sessions, but this one will have to go either one of the ways, and I do actually feel Murphy is going to be too strong for me, and I'm going to base it off the two factors, but ultimately I feel like it's going to get a little bit of a massacre from here. I'll be honest with you, from what we've seen of Yize, it just feels like, I don't know why, but he doesn't have that flair with him. He doesn't have that fluency. He doesn't have that belief that he's still the man that is, as if he's playing qualified matches, which is understandable. But I feel like he's very dependent on that. And I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like this one could be a lot more like, Mark Williams against Yazington and a lot less like Luca Brissell against Mark Selby from 3 years ago. But hope to be wrong, and I do actually feel like, the brilliant story of China is going to be very much over here, and Shaun should have more experience than Yize as well. But the way that he was able to handle being 3-0 behind, I think about it, if Yize does find himself to be 3 frames behind, and once again, it is not really relevant when you talk about the match with Mark Allen, but I felt like Allen was the one that kept shooting himself in the foot there, if you want, and he could have easily won that whilst only losing one more frame and make it down to 32 frames, so 17-15, but I still feel like if Murphy was able to outgrind Higgins, and he's been able to find himself from behind every single time there, the only thing from Yize's point of view, as I say, there's two things. One, Murphy's going to lose that, and he's going to become very much immortal again and become to, I don't know, the pre-British Open form where he was dropping down the rankings and just not playing as well as he has been. But ultimately, at this stage, I probably would say it's still very much down to a great chance for Shaun Murphy to try and take this one away from Yize and make it, 9-8 for me is probably going to be the best that Yize can produce based on what we've seen in the morning session, but ultimately you can't win a match if you're going to be losing every single time there. So he needs to try and very much put himself to be in a position which will allow him to be the one dictating the play, dictating the run, dictating the way that he plays the game. Whether he's going to be down to luck or anything else, he has to be very much the man that will be in charge of it as well. And, for now, we're going to have a very much the introduction of the players. We've seen it before. Yize's going to come down the stairs first, and then Shaun Murphy will follow very shortly after. And is that going to be the story of what we've seen in the first session as well? Because Yize certainly was able to try and do that and achieve the result that he was looking for, but ultimately couldn't quite hold on to it as well. But listen, as I say, don't want to be too negative about it, and it is going to be the best of 4 sessions, remember. So even if that is to be the case and the scoreline of 10-7 or hopefully not 11-6, because I feel like that one is going to be a little bit too far from Yize to try to recover from. But once again, it's down to 9 frames of a session, and if you lose it 7 frames to 2, that does put you on the back foot quite badly. But whether that will be the case, we'll have to wait and see what happens right now. But for now, the fans are about to enjoy themselves. The doors were open ahead of Yize, and he's now looking to be very much the second youngest world champion after the man that has managed to win the Crucible Crown for seven times out there, Stephen Hendry, is going to be very much hoping there's not going to be too much safety to play, and that their general standard of play is going to improve when it comes to the break building skills from this man. 65 was the highest that he was able to produce. In the end, it was the break that got him over the finish line in the frame number 8. But still, as I say, he's missing that a little bit of flair to him, and hoping that he will certainly be able to bring that back into the second session as well. Followed by the man that has managed to win this tournament when he was only 22 years of age. Same age, pretty much a couple of months younger, but Yize, that is going to try and very much make sure that he will be the final number 4 that Shaun Murphy will lose. He's lost one to Selby, lost one to Higgins. He's managed to lose one to Stuart Bingham as well. Can he now try and emerge ahead in this session and make sure he's going to be the man dominating the session number 3 against Yize, and be the man looking to try and land his fingers on a second trophy of the Crucible here? He's managed to win the Masters beforehand. He's managed to win the UK Championship as well. And now he'll be looking to try and get himself through a bit of a grinding phase, as I say, in the session number 1. But now certainly managed to enjoy himself out there as he makes his way for the second time out of guaranteed 3 towards the stage of the Crucible. Of course, if we are to see an absolute massacre here, it could be very much down to him to be producing that massacre there. The man sitting with the world number 10 number, which is going to be rising rapidly for him. Not starting for now. Players are arriving in the arena, certainly. So, as I say, Yize has got it all to do for me. He needs to be the man that's trying to be aggressive, not trying to be on the back foot, and making sure that he will be doing everything that he can to try and get this thing away from Shaun Murphy. Whether that will be the case or not, we'll have to wait and see. For now, I probably would say he will be down to a decent opportunity to be producing some snooker here to be played. Now then, the applause are going to be there from the crowd. Oh, very nice. There you go. We see straight away Rob Spencer there. He's going to be refereeing his first final, but now just making sure no matter the announcement, he's going to be doing another great thing here of trying to remind everyone that they should have their phone switched off. And I'm absolutely pro the thing, if you can't be asked to switch your phone off, even if that's down to me in the arena, you should be taken out of it, because that'll teach you a lesson. And that should be very much a sign for other people to follow as well. At least miss out on that particular frame. And if it's going to be a decider, that's the thing that you'll never forget till the last time of your life. And, well, now it's going to be down to a shot to be played here from Shaun Murphy. And gives the turn back to the Magician here from Yize. And once again, well, that was the case which we were seeing plenty of, even in the first frame of the first session as well. The first shot from Murphy, and he's going to be the pot. That time around, it was a brilliant red into the left corner. This time, he's going to bring a little bit of variety and put himself to be the man taking the point away from Yize. Now, looking to try and get the brown into the left middle. Whether that will be the case or not, we'll have to wait and see. Oh, he's taken that one a little bit too far into the back end jaw. Not happy. Not happy with something. Not happy with something. He's fuming. He's said something to the referee, which Dennis Taylor didn't catch. I didn't either. Well, I'll tell you what, straight away, Murphy's going to be feeling it slightly there. And that's going to be a big thing, because, of course, that's going to be just a single point that he manages to score off the break. And now the turn will have to go towards Yize and get himself to be the man, trying to certainly put a little bit of pressure here on his opponent. And, well, we're certainly going to try and go for the black into the left corner. Whether he's going to have the ability to try and screw into the reds, he has done so. And look at that once again. Let's have a look. I mean, we're not going to be able to see it, but ooh. Somebody in the back of him there, it would seem, because he was trying to turn around and sort of say, what are you doing out there? Well, it wasn't down to a phone, because the referee has warned the fans out there, but certainly it wasn't something that was going to please Shaun Murphy. And now it's going to be 9 points to 1 in favour of Yize here. And he's still looking to try and be on the lower side of a blue here. I mean, he's trying to make his way towards the ball cushion here, it would seem, and trying to make sure he's going to have a shot to play into the left middle as well. Yeah, for now, as I say, the previous thing about Shaun Murphy's, you know, a couple of really good long shots was, of course, the reason behind that, I should say, is that he needed to make sure he gets himself in with a chance, because if he does, I mean, the position looks brilliant because, yes, of course, it was improved by, Yize's strike into the reds from the cue ball, but still, it felt like there were plenty of loose reds for him to try and play for, and as he was trying to do for the brown, but didn't quite manage to execute that one well. And now just looking to go for the red to be taken into the right corner. Still, that was a very awkward shot there for him to play, having to bridge over the brown, and now still able to take the black away into the left corner. Now he's going to be on the current break of 15 points there. Yize is certainly trying to make sure he's going to be proving people like me wrong that say he doesn't really have a strong chance here to try and get himself ahead before the third session. But there's nothing better for you to do than to try and start off with a nice little break here, whether it'll be a 50, a 40. It depends on what he's going to be and what's going to happen later on. But for now, he's starting very nicely. And yeah, certainly, I felt like Dish is going to be very much, using the Google Translate for that one. But you're never quite sure. And sometimes you are certainly going to have people that speak multiple languages are there. She's a moderator for a reason, Absolutely. Exactly. No, I'm not. Nah, we don't believe that. Anyway, back to 3 more loose reds available here for Yize, and all of them actually can be taken into the right part of the table. So whether it will be down to those type of shots to be taken or not, it'll be very interesting to see Yize's reaction on that, because for now, it'll probably be down to a decent opportunity here to be done as well. For now, taking the black away into the left corner. Play this one with a little bit of top spin and just try and get that cue ball to be lined up for the shot into the left middle. Now make sure he's going to be very much down to the same start as it was in the first frame. But remember, Yize did have a good chance of scoring some good points out there, but didn't quite manage to take that break over the finish line. And now he'll be very much... Portuguese is understandable for me. Same roots from French. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. And... yeah, now looking at the black to be taken into the right corner now. Oh, he's tried to go into the reds. He's had a really good contact, but is he going to be on one? I'll tell you what, that is super unfortunate, because he knows he was looking from the left corner of the table, but he knows he's not going to be on anything apart from maybe an extreme cut of a red to be taken into the left middle. But I'll tell you what, if you could blame him for what happened in the first 3 frames, you can't blame him from here. He's hit that absolutely perfectly well. Off the black, plenty of power. If anything... he could argue that he should not have played that shot with so much power and strength, risking the black to be missed. But since he made the black, I mean, well, you can't blame him if he goes for this red into the left middle. As I say, it feels like this frame is his, and it should be his as well. Let's see if it's going to be positive fuel. It's such a difficult cut, though. It's pretty much impossible to get. Wow, what a shot that is. Brilliant from Yize, and I said it's pretty much impossible to get. Look at that one on the replay. That was absolutely marvellous, and I am very glad to see that this young man of 22 years of age, for now, he's certainly proving me wrong on everything I said before this one. I said he's going to have to struggle in the opening couple of frames, but once again, sometimes, if you turn the page over the previous session and you put in all the hours of practice, you are going to be lined up nicely for a start here. And now looking for the red to be taken into the left corner as well. A little bit of backspin on the cue ball. Once again, wants to be on the stop side of a blue. Let's play that one well. Let's see where the cue ball's going to finish. He's going to be absolutely spot on again. So, only the 4th break of 50 plus there from Yize in the entirety of those 9 frames. Plenty of those that we've seen have also gone slightly away from him, I would say. And now will be certainly down to a decent opportunity to be taking that red away into the right corner. Played that one well. And now still looking for a potential escape towards the blue here, because he can try and go for a shot into the left middle. Just try and play that cue ball through the shot on the red. Make sure he's still going to have an angle to try and compete with the blue to be taken into the right middle. As I say, play that shot with plenty of power behind it. And just make sure that cue ball is going to keep on running towards the right side cushion here. And play that on carefully well. Still going to have a decent opportunity of the red to be taken into the left middle. Now 65 points of a lead, 67 remaining. It's been a really fabulous break there. Of course, Murphy now finding himself in a position where he's going to have to try and put this frame behind him if this red disappears, which it should. One of the easiest frame balls that we've seen so far in this match. But we've seen that sometimes it doesn't quite work out like it should. But it's not, the frame number 35 just yet. Still going to be only the frame number 9. And the red is taken comfortably there from Yize. Now looking to make it the highest break for himself, of course, first and foremost. Now doing that with that 67 points that he scores, and now looking to try and get the second century break on the board as well. First one was made by Shaun Murphy on his way towards trying to overcome that great deficit of 3 frames to nil. And I'm pretty sure the century break was happening in the 9th frame, which is where he thought surely he's going to take the 7th frame, I should say. I don't know why I said the 9th frame. The 7th frame, and you know, it was certainly down to the 8th frame for him to be the favourite in as well, but that didn't quite work out. Yize was able to produce a really good starting point for the maximum, but of course didn't get too far on that one. And now he's going to have a red to be taken carefully well into the right corner. Make sure he's still going to have the position on the black to be sorted out into the right corner. As he plays that shot with, once again, some great conviction, making sure the black is going to disappear, which it doesn't. Talking about conviction, but still, anyways, certainly a decent starting point there from Yize that gets himself a break of 82 points, and now he will be down to Yize to be the man, leading by 5 frames to 4, and well, he could not have dreamt about a better start, I'll tell you this for free, because now he's certainly going to try and make sure he will be coming down to a great performance from him as well. Now, you're going to have to see a response from Murphy. He was a little bit fuming with himself to try and get away from the previous mistakes, but that brown is going to hurt him badly, whether he's going to have a chat to the referee, whether he's going to have to chat to someone else, but he certainly won't be happy with that break. And listen, it's a perfect start for the session for the neutral, for anyone that is not a Shaun Murphy fan, because this does bring entertainment. Murphy is going to be the player that is more than capable of running away with this one, shut that machine down, and make sure he's got absolutely no way to get to the gas station to refuel himself, and make sure he's going to be very much around the corner as well, giving up the revs. Murphy now, he's going to be not under pressure just yet, but at the same time, he can't allow the machine of Yize to go on forever like this, because I'd probably say he can afford to lose one more frame. If he gets to a point of him being the underdog for the 11th frame as well, that brings the dynamic change. At that stage, he'll be down to Yize to be setting the tone to the remainder of the session, no matter what happens, because 7-4 of a lead will allow him to lose, 6 frames on the bounce and still be in the contention. Yes, that would be a disaster, but at the same time, he's lost 4 frames before, but at the same time, he's managed to win 3 frames here as well on the bounce without conceding a chance away to Shaun Murphy in, the previous one, realistically, ever since he's managed to be back to the table. And remember, that wasn't an easy chance that he had, still having to play some of those shots really well. The queuing was tested to the highest limit as well. And now we'll be down to Shaun Murphy to see if he's going to have his test to pass and try and get the previous. Well, once again, I don't really know. I'm going to try and keep the audio on because you never quite know with what's going to happen. But it's now going to be the first shot that Shaun Murphy is going to break since whether there was a heckle, whether it was a cough, whether it was something that was distracting. Now, Shaun Murphy is going to have a break-off shot. Let's see, still doesn't seem like he's got any sort of a sign of a smile on his face. Oh, I'll tell you what, and he probably shouldn't be happy and shouldn't be smiling about this one either, because there's going to be a red available into the left corner. It's going to be very interesting to see on what Yize thinks about that one, because if he goes for that red and he manages to get anywhere near it, he's going to have a line for that cue ball to be taken towards the black, and he's done those type of shots beforehand. Let's see how his long pot is going to be. It's going to be brilliant. Now the cue ball is going to cannon into the black and go all the way to the top. He wants it to slow down now, and it's going to be absolutely perfect for a line on the yellow or the green. And this time around, a great value of a break-off shot. Doesn't seem like it's brought any value in terms of points or any sort of momentum towards Shaun Murphy. Well, for now, we're seeing that Shaun Murphy has managed to concede 4 attempts from 5 of the break-off shots that he had. And for now, you can see that Yize has managed to concede only 3 out of those 5. So it's now down to him to try and turn this one around. Going for the yellow into the its own pocket. Oh, he's managed to play this one very narrow in terms of the angle. Oh, I'll tell you what, that's going to be a bit nasty. He's just about, he's still going to be on this straight into the right corner. But when I say it's nasty, I literally do mean that it is. There's not going to be a chance to try and stay on the bottom half of the table, and he's actually thinking about going for a safety shot here. Well, It's not an easy shot for you to play, but as I say, I will probably expect him to go for this red, by the way, but I absolutely cannot blame him if he doesn't, because the cut is absolutely extreme. And if you play those shots with the pace, no matter how much pace you put it, and it's enough for that red to reach the corner, then he certainly is going to be down to, the red. If you miss it, it's going to stay in the pocket. The opponent of yours is going to be absolutely clapping his hands, saying, well done for giving me a chance. And this is exactly why he decided to try and play the defensive shot instead, which you can't blame him for. The history is going to be a little bit different anyway. Let's have a look. What did his stats by the mean on the table? 47, 43, 46. Is that the temperature? Is that the special meter of the table? The speed of the cloth, the previous speed of the next shot. And wow, that was brilliant. Sean Murphy, that's the way to try and forget about what happened in the previous frame. That was a brilliant red that he's taken. I was about to say that Yize hasn't played a good enough shot there in terms of the safety that he's had because of the cue ball not being to the ball cushion. But I thought, you know what? I still don't think that Sean Murphy's going to fancy his chances to try and go for the red straight away. And also, I didn't think there was an angle to get on the black. I thought he was a little bit too straight. So for me, those two variables were good enough to keep him away from the table. But that's not going to be the case with Murphy. And, well, this is a lot more like what we were told from the ads on what's going to happen in this final. Plenty of break building, plenty of drama, and plenty of great long shots to try and take the chances away into those players. And now, after scoring those 3 points for Yize, despite those two being some really good shots that he's played, at the end stage, he won't really bring him too close towards the target. And now, he will allow someone like Yize to be very much sat in his chair, not thinking about anything else, but just try and see a way for him to come back to the table as soon as it's humanly possible. For now, it's a bit of a narrow shot that he had to play on the previous red, but it was always going to be the case. The black was out of position. As I say, he's done really well to get the opening red with the black. Now, still needs to recover. I'm not sure that was the plan. Let's see where the cue ball's going to finish, but it may be the end of a break here. It should be the end of a break, but you never quite know with Murphy. Let's see. Is there going to be a plant underneath the ping? Yeah, basically what happened there, he was trying to send the cue ball into the reds with all the power that he had, but in the end he seems to have missed them all. And so the cue ball managed to come all the way up the table and then back down for those reds again. So, well, now just seeing what you can do. And there's not really a lot you can do, but it probably was down to the angle. I feel like he needed to hit those reds firm, but also he needed to hit them from the side there to make sure that he wasn't going to get the cue ball to be stuck. So I'm a little bit surprised with how much power he's played that shot with, because inevitably probably would have liked to see a little brush. It's a firm contact, but at the same time off the side there, and playing that cue ball to be heading for the blue or the bold colours. That clearly was down to try and get the cue ball to get stuck in those reds, and yeah, of course that wasn't really the case since he's missed them all. But now he's played a good safety shot here. Managed to cover up the left and the right hand side to me, so he may be too cushion escape here for Yize. One of the left side, he's trying to do a one side cushion, but I tell you what, the pace of the cue ball is going to be really difficult to judge for there. And also, he's got the experience of messing up those shots there previously in the session, because, once he's played for escape like that, and he brushed them on the left hand side, then he's basically left the red over there into the right corner, into the right middle I should say, because he just didn't allow himself to open up the angle enough there. Can he see the part of those red? Wow, that was a brilliant shot in relation to how close he was to the blue, but also how close he was to missing out on all those reds, and potentially, never quite know, with those type of shots, he could have easily given a free ball away, which is, right now, is going to be absolutely a deadly thing for you to be doing. So still, having a look at those reds there, Sean Murphy, and well, he's got one technically that is available to be taken onto the right corner, but it is a little bit extreme, I would say, to the level that you have to be absolutely risking it to go for that type of a shot out there as well. But now still making sure that you will be very much coming down to a shot like that to be played, but yeah, it's down to just one of those things out there where if you're going to have to play a shot like this, then you might just have to make sure that he will be very much coming down for you to just play those shots to be safe, play those reds to be safe as well. For now, well, it's I mean, he's tried to open up those reds, but you can't really blame him for, but you still feel like you could have played that shot a little bit better. And now, he'll be certainly coming down to a shot on the red available for Yize to try and take. Whether he can try and take that as a long red, we'll have to wait and see, but at the same time, I just feel like there is going to be potential for that red to disappear into the corner, and that was certainly the case with Yize, and now he's going to find himself to be leading in terms of the chances to try and to win the frame. He's going to be only 12 points back, but look at that long red that he's taken into the corner. Brilliant, crisp, and now, even though it's the wrong side of a blue, he's still going to be absolutely delighted with that one, which will allow him to try and take those type of shots away. Whether, as I say, he's going to be able to try and bounce that cube on massively and get it past the yellow and the green, which he's done really well with. Ooh, where's the cube going to finish, though? I mean, he's got nothing easy, and he was never going to have anything easy, to be fair, because of the, situation of those reds, and probably down to, even though he's played a brilliant red as a starting point, as soon as he wasn't on the top side of a blue, he put himself with a massive job to do here. And I feel like it may be too massive. Once again, look at the angle that we can see from behind the referee cam. And, well, we're certainly just showing you the picture of how well that shot was struck there. You can see very much on the chest there of Rob Spencer, having the camera to demonstrate what's going to be happening. But ultimately, well, is he going to go for the Watchalong plant? He's been going for those for fun. Or is he going to go for Yize type of a plant? There is one that he's going to be getting that cube to be sent towards the top part of the table, but it's still plenty of distance in between those reds. He's taking that one well. Where's the cube going to finish? And easy to keep rolling to at least be on the blue into the yellow pocket. Well, that's not quite what he wanted, but still, at least he's still got a chance to try and take the blue away. But of course, it still comes back to what are you going to play after if you have, of course, managed to successfully pot the blue. I feel like this time around he may be able to give himself, the cube to be positioned slightly closer towards the right side cushion, which, even though technically that's going to be further away from the red, the angle is going to be natural for the cube to be heading towards the safe zone as well, which is going to be probably the most important point here. Well, he's trying to go for a backspin shot, and has that worked out? So you what? Hasn't worked out badly. I mean, it may not sound happy or look happy to me, but he clearly has got a red into the left middle, even though that's not an easy shot, but who said anything about easy? Yeah, look at that. A little bit of a two cannon onto those two reds. I felt like he was trying to play for one of them to be taken into the left middle, but it doesn't matter how you get there. It's just all down to trying to make sure you're going to be able to continue the break. Now, looking for the red to be taken into the left middle. A little bit of backspin. Look at how he's played that one really well into the front jaw and still manages to be. Is he going to be on the black? Well, the reaction on his face. He's usually a very emotional player there, Yize. He's having a second look, but it seems like he's going to be very much happy with the way that he's landed on the black. Well, it's a massive shot now. Unless it's going to be a foul. Of course, he should be able to get through to the black. He's done that. He's just about rolled the black in. That was anything but comfortable. But once again, still, that's probably trying to overplay for the black there. Of course, since he played that shot into the front jaw, he made sure that he wasn't really confident with how much of the black could he actually see out there. So, in the end, what could he do here? It's another rest shot, and it's another shot which doesn't leave him in a comfortable position. So, it seems like he's just trying to do and see if he's going to be able to reach this one away, and doing that without the rest. Once again, those type of shots are the ones that you need to play well, and ask the referee to put the reds back there, but he's still going to need the extension to be put on his cue. Of course, it still gives you an advantage, I would say, over a rest shot if it gives you the ability to try and reach the cubo here, but sometimes you can't overstretch and feel like you're not going to be able to clean hit the reds, and needs the cubo to keep on rolling for now. Once again, I'm not going to say it's perfect here, but Rob Spencer having a look at the paint spot, by the way. He knows that he's going to have to try and respot the paint if it's gone there. Yize is having his own look now. I've played since... I'm curious, all people here have tried to play snooker one day, even just tried because I did and decided it was too hard to be fun. I'd probably say it's once again into the front jaw. Letitia, as a moderator, you should be allowed to be doing polls, by the way. We're going to end this one and we're going to ask it. Have you played snooker before? Spelled snooker wrong. There we go. Yes or no? And you can tell us, because I'm going to tell you a story about me. Really, genuinely, I have certainly played it, but there's a thing about snooker, and it's not just because it's very much the channel about the snooker, but the thing about snooker for me is that it was always on a Saturday and a Sunday, and you never quite got the same emotions doing anything else. You know, when you're doing the easy for you to find a snooker table, here in France it's very rare to find some, but it's easier. So yeah, I'm going to answer that one as well, because it's a very interesting story on that one, because I do understand the issue, and I was very surprised when I came to the UK. I thought it was going to be all down to snooker tables, but apparently, you know, because of, snooker not being so popular with the younger generation, because of its, you very much depend on a little bit of an older audience anyway, so it's just like a bit, is there really a point in having a new snooker club? So yeah, but it basically down like this. But the story about snooker is that the enjoyment of, you have the little cloth, what's it called, the cover of the table, just so it doesn't get dusty, dirty and stuff. When you unravel it and you see that light green cloth ahead of yourself with 6 pockets, and you get those reds away from the box very much on their spots there, for me, and you hit the first couple of shots, there's not a feeling like it. Pretty much with anything. Like, there are some things that we're going to be emotionally wise, there are going to be very much a match for it, but from the sport, from the entertainment, when you play video games or anything like that, never has a sport or any video game has given you emotions like that. I mean, that is just incredible. It can always, the thing about snooker is that it can be like that for one shot, and then you play horrible and you're like, I should have gone home, I don't want to play this anymore. But that first shot and that first feeling, it's never a match for it as well. Yes, every town has clubs, yeah, the thing about it is that it does, but I genuinely did think there were going to be a lot more of them, I'll be honest with you, and, still, you need to find one. You need to really do find one. I mean, it is possible for you to do it, but I genuinely thought it was going to be very much surrounded with, the snooker like being a national sport or something, but even though it's, and me coming from, a small town back in Ukraine, it was very much down to, you needed to find a snooker table. There were plenty of, American pool, absolutely, stuff like that. You had plenty of different pool variations as well. But for snooker specifically, we had a club which then, once again, because of the thing that I just mentioned, because of snooker not being that popular, by the way, let's have a look at how Yize is going to handle this one. It's 43 points clear, 51 at the table. He needs the blue, and he needs to try and take contact with those reds. He's trying to play for the loose red at the bottom, which is risky. Well, I'll tell you what, that's really surprising that he's played for that, because now he's going to have to find the angle, and he's going to have to try and find the power to try and get that cue towards the blue. Well, means more power, means less control. Wow, that's brilliant. I mean, he's actually managed to hold that cue off of the black. I mean, it was very smart there, because I didn't realize he had the angle to try and do that. But of course, if he missed that red, he would have had the black to be very much in the way of that red. And now he's going to be 6-4 of a lead there for Yize. And he certainly managed to step up his game badly and make himself to be the leading man here again. Well, is he going to be able to try and achieve very much the same outcome of the first session and a 3-0 lead very much at the starting point? Well, if he does, he's going to have to make sure he's actually going to be able to hold on to it. But for now, he could not have dreamt about a better start. And Yize is playing the snooker that got him here. And as I said, he was missing his flair. We weren't seeing any of it in the first session. You could see the breaks of 82 and 75 that he's made in those 2 frames have been by far bigger than anything that we've seen in the previous 8. And now he was a little bit short for the century break, and he's going to be 1 point closer already right now, and still having 6 colours very much available to him. There's only 2 towns in France with enough tables to organise French Championship, and not close to my town. Yeah, I suppose it's weird though, isn't it, that you have got the country like Germany, which doesn't really stick out to me as a country that does, have so much to do with snooker, but they do have German masters, and when they have the Tempodrome, like, you genuinely feel like, because it's all done in German, so you very much feel like it's not going to be to the fans travelling to Germany, which is completely understandable. I mean, you have to be a snooker freak to be doing that, but ultimately, he will be very much down to a chance to be organising a tournament like that, but by doing it, you need to make sure you have the backing of the audience. and you need to make sure you're going to be able to do the sponsorship deals, do those deals that will allow you to be very much paying for the tickets and paying for the the deals for the WST, because plenty of countries in China, plenty of towns in China are going to be very much looking forward to trying to achieve that. Now that they're paying for the century, wow, that is going to be a special fluke. I mean, that was brilliant there from Yize. Yes, he's going to miss the black, but even then, it's still going to be a very, very special fluke in the pink. And when you need a century at the Crucible, the magic in the end sometimes will be very much down to you as well. So then, 106 points for Yize, 103 on the break, and I tell you what, there was a little bit of magic there, and the Magician is going to acknowledge it, because now he does find himself only one frame away from the pressure. In Ireland, not as many as in the 90s, but most towns do have it. I'm happy to learn a lot of people that have played snooker at least once. Thanks for that. Absolutely. We'll keep that one rolling for a minute. Could be 200 million people in China watching. Well, I'll tell you what, they're certainly going to be used to it from what happened to Xington, and they're going to be like, yeah, you know what? They have to remember at the beginning of May, there is going to be a tournament called a World Championship in snooker, and we have to make sure that we do have the Chinese players to be participating out there. We have to be making sure we're going to try and do our best to support those people with it as well. For now, it doesn't seem like he's going to look badly at all, and we do find ourselves to be in a position of a bit of a, I wouldn't say glory, but certainly a little bit of pleasure and, some great entertainment shown already by Yize. Once again, the breaks of 82 and 103, 185 points that he scored already in those two frames. It's not bad at all, and now he certainly finds to be himself in a position of trying to overcome all those technical errors in the previous couple of frames, and now putting himself to be very much to the limit. And when he comes down to it, for now, very much interesting to see on what is going to happen now with the World Championship, because, is he going to be Shaun Murphy to try and do the same thing that he has been doing time and time again against Higgins? Or is he going to be a bit of a different story there? Because you can't just rely on that. And when you have those frames on the board, it's always very nice to be in that position. And, the thing that I was also going to answer is that, I forgot what it was. Finding a table. Yeah, it was difficult to find a table, basically, because you have to basically have a club. Then our club that we used to be going for 5 years, then it was basically renovated into a restaurant because they felt like it wasn't really worth to be doing it. So we had to find another one. And, we basically gone there. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 American pools. And then it was very much down to a special place for the snooker. There was one more pool table, which they used for coaching. And then it basically was like a private room. And they spent a couple of years to be renovating or whatever. And basically, I would say in 2020, when COVID hit, it basically was down to, I'm not sure, I probably feel like we only had it in 21. Then the old club that we were going back for 5 or 6 years before that. And then we sort of reopened it, had another snooker table. We had a special place for snookers, which was like, where did that come from? But then, of course, in 2020, the war happened, and nobody going to care about snooker from now. So, yeah, it's now very much down to, well, that was perfect timing, because now Yize is going to be back to the table. And I'll tell you what, the break-off shot didn't help Shaun Murphy in the previous occasion. If anything, it managed to be the one which unsettled him a little bit, even though there was a brilliant long shot that he's taken into the corner, only able to produce 16 points out of that break, and now he'll be down to Yize to have a break-off shot of his own, which he hasn't played well at all. Seemed like the cue ball is not going to come in behind the green, so there is going to be a chance of taking the red away into the left middle, and there is going to be a pattern there as well that, well, Murphy can try and take the cue ball into the pink here, which is risky because you're playing for a colour and you only have got a chance to try and land on the pink or black here. I was a bus driver in London. Most of the garages had snooker table. Well, that's interesting again. It wouldn't surprise me, but it's very much down to one of those very specific things out there. For now, as I say, we're going to have a chance for Shaun Murphy to be taking that red away, as he has done. So refused to be taking the cue ball into the pink straight away, but of course, I felt like he was actually never planning to do that, and maybe just trying to see if it's going to be worth it, trying to take it from the blue onto the reds from the cue ball. He seems to have played the shot absolutely perfectly into the pink, and look at the way that he's managed to get those reds to spread out. probably given himself around 7 of those to work with at least. And now, just make sure he's going to have a chance to try and take this break all the way out there. For now, a very pacey and a very quick session start. Already 2 frames that we've played. Only 30 minutes since the starting point, and already we're getting somewhere in the 3rd frame here as well. The last club I went had snooker table, but there were only customers to play. Never seen someone else on the table. Now, yeah, this is what I'm saying about it, because once again, you're going to have more and more things like, the new sports to be breaking through, the other sports to be getting more popular. So there's not really going to be a point for, a sport which is as sad as it is, to be very much closing down to it. So it's going to be down to the profit-driven things, and unfortunately, sometimes the moral doesn't actually go over the grade, and that's the way of life. Now then, once again, Murphy's lined up for the black to be taken into the right corner. He's going to be able to try and just eliminate that red from the right-hand side of it. From the left, I should have said, he wanted to try and hit that one firm in the face. In the end, he still manages to find a gap there. As I said, how many reds that he had there available to himself, it just allows him to, for me, misplay that shot, because I felt like he was trying to do something else out there. Turning out to be very interesting. Well, certainly snooker tables are so big as expected that no clubs want to invest that other price he takes versus the money that... Yeah, exactly, Tisha, exactly. Because you need, first of all, and the most important thing, the room has to be huge. Like, the thing about pool tables is that they're going to be nowhere near as big as the snooker table, and you can fit, there's going to be more of a demand for them, and also there's going to be so little space to take. And also, talk about the maintenance. Because that table is so huge, the father told me actually that it was down to, you need to be having it in a very specific area. You need to have a very specific humidity in there. The temperature, everything has to be perfect. Then all the maintenance of the actual thing of the cloth, reclothing and stuff. And it just comes back to, once again, the money of it. And of course, the money that it takes to maintain and have a snooker table versus the money that it brings. Unfortunately, in reality, it's not really going to be something that is worth for you to be doing, but hopefully that will change in the future, because I still feel like if there's going to be a breakthrough, like we've seen with a sport like, I always feel like about Formula 1, when we had the new regulations in 2014. In 2013, they were actively discussing that teams were going to go bankrupt. There were so many change of ownerships at that point, and then 2014 comes, 15, 16, and Drive to Survive Netflix, and all of a sudden you feel like it's the most expensive and the biggest sport in the world out there. So I'm not saying that snooker is going to be that, but if it just manages to drive that international audience, make sure it's going to have some sort of investment, and you never quite know. As I say, it's got the potential. For me, it's very much one of those sports there that if you have seen it and you've played it, it's going to be very much down to a very nice feeling that you get, but of course it's down to, once again, trying to do the marketing thing on it. And the best marketing is international recognition, is international, people to be watching sports, and of course promoting on their platforms, because you're going to have the tennis stars, very much the football stars and stuff like that. Like we've seen the Liverpool star, Milos Kerkez, to be very much in the attendance, which for me was very surprising. Of course, I would have rather him to have been towards the left-back position today, after we've played brilliantly against Man U, lost 3-2 despite being able to equalise with 2 frames each, but that's very much a painful point. And with Murphy playing so well, I thought I may as well bring it into it. But of course, we've seen Paul Scholes, in attendance to match with Ronnie O'Sullivan, where he's gone back to see if there was any tickets at the Crucible, and he found 1 ticket to be available in the entire theatre, 3 seats away from Ronnie, that he was happy to pay £450 for. And now just looking then with Murphy, he's got a really good job that he's done of those loose reds available. Once again, plenty of pacing behind those type of shots, and just allowing himself to be lined up for the pink and the blue. A little bit confused on what he's played for right now, because that's a weird shot that he's played here, because I'm not sure if he's on the pink, and even if he is, he's going to have to bridge over the blue here, so that's interesting. And of course, if you take the blue away, how do you get those reds to spread out away from each other? Now, he decided not to be doing that at all, so just roll that blue in. Clearly feels like the red next to the pink is going to go towards the left corner. And now, that of course, we're getting very much down to lines up on the collar, which will be a frame ball. So now you can see there was a little bit of side in it though, and he was trying to put side spin, I should say, and making sure that he had A shot on the blue to be taken nicely. The red shouldn't be too much of a problem, and it wasn't. Played that one really well. And now it will come down to a shot on the blue to be the frame ball. He can always try and afford to be heading for those 4 reds of the pack as well, because he's got very little chance of trying to send them, towards the corner pocket. And to be fair, it doesn't seem like he's played that one with too much intention to try and bring those reds to be in the open play. Even though it's going to be a break of 72 points, you still feel like he could have been taken a lot further than this. But once again, breaks of 72, 82, and 103 there. It's very much impressive, especially, in comparison to what we've seen in the previous couple of frames. I'm jealous. Well, exactly. Catford had snooker table. Newcross had snooker table. Peckham had snooker table. Campbell had snooker table. Wow. Kingsley certainly do know a thing or two about those type of things. But Murphy, he's not going to be able to put the red into the right middle. And why do I have the feeling that if he was able to play safe, he would not have left the chance away to Yize to come back to the table, but he's certainly going to try and fancy his chances now because he's got all those reds to be available, and ultimately it will be coming down to a shot to be played on those reds. And has he taken that one nicely? He has. Well, that's a really good shot there from Yize. So, I mean, how many points can he afford to lose here? Can he afford to lose 1? Because he'll benefit from it massively, trying to put the pink back to its own spot and use one of those reds underneath the pink. Very much to be taken away. Yeah, he probably won't have to focus about that one too much. His main objective is going to be down to trying to pot 4 reds with a black here, get himself through to 32 points to be had. Just power that one in massively into the right middle. Still doesn't want to be straight on the black here though, because that would allow him to play through it with topspin and allow him to be positioned for the red into the left middle here, while still having a good angle to bring that cue ball back down the table. Played that one well. I'm not sure if he's got enough of the angle to try and naturally force it, but he's always going to be able to have a chance of playing for the black into the right corner. And even though if he leaves himself a little bit wide in that one, he wouldn't be too happy, but he's probably going to find himself in a position where he's not going to be happy until the end point of the frame here, because as I said, 7-4 would have put Murphy probably the first time in the match there when he would have been in a nervous position out there. For now, still finds himself to be in a fairly comfortable position in relation to how close he's going to be in Yize, and still, of course, being the top seed of the two, and still looking to try and make it very much down to the bottom line out there. But now he takes the third black with the red. Just trying to roll the red carefully into the corner. He wants to make sure he's not going to have too much of the kiss on the reds, and he's actually managed to benefit from that one quite badly. It's a really good shot in the end, even without being having that kiss on the red, but with it, even better. So, once again, let's do the maths. If he gets this one in, he needs 2 snookers anyway, but of course, with the red, you could always have a thing about a free ball to be available to you. So for now, just try and take the black away, and what is he going to be able to do here? Surely he's not going to be lining himself up for a double here to be taken. 28 years driving bus in Southland. Well, I'll tell you what, that's... Talk about the experience. Now, is he trying to go for this red into the left middle? No, he's not. Of course he's not. But just thought like he was trying to get himself lined up way too close to that one. But still, played a good shot here. And the red is going to be quite far away from the side cushion. And if it's going to be getting... I don't really understand if there is going to be a point where, Murphy can play this one with a chance of leaving away a free ball. But of course, it's not really going to be down to, trying to concede a couple of foul points here. If it's going to be 4 out of the 5 that Yize needs. Snooker escape success for now is going to be down to 100% here. So let's see the way this is going to go. Just trying to take it with plenty of topspin and a very comfortable hit there on the right side, and still very much, of course, judged that power well so that he was not going to be anywhere near the ball colours, and especially going beyond them, so that there was going to be a potential chance for a free ball to be available. But you feel like Yize is not going to leave this one that easily, and make sure he's going to be able to hug the pink. And that's a nice shot if he slows down. Just about rolled too far there, because that could have been a really nasty snooker for Murphy to try and get himself out of. At the end stage, he'll be very much, a little bit of a serve that he needs, just to make it sure that he doesn't get anywhere near the black, which of course, is the last thing that he needs to hit. But at the end stage, comfortable hit on the red, and still managing to put that one relatively safe in relation to where the cue ball is going to be. So with the previous 2 frames, being such a quick ones, now. I was just about to say we may be seeing a bit of a lengthy battle here, but not if Yize is going to have a shot like that into the middle part of the jaw. And now it should be a straightforward line for Shaun Murphy to try and take this thread away, and then he'll be down to potting this one, and the frame will truly be over at this stage. So then Murphy's just going to try and go for a run of, 8 shots to be taken, which is going to be helpful for him. Having that frame of a sit down that he had previously. Still looking to try and play for the yellow, despite not having the best of the angles on the black. Now we'll be down to very much a decent opportunity here to try and go for the yellow away, but he hasn't managed to take that one, so still doesn't really matter. It's a break of 8 points, which will get Shaun Murphy over the finish line, and now still looking to enjoy himself for the remainder of the second session, and he's got one more frame before the interval. It certainly has been a very quick start to this match, and now already we're going to have 3 frames to be played in around 45 minutes or so. Having a cold shot beer in Jamaica, well, I'll tell you what, it does sound lovely. So enjoy yourself out there, but ultimately, one more frame to see if it's going to be a very different scenario, of course, depending on the result. If we're going to have a chance for either one of the players to try and take it away, it'll be either Shaun Murphy to try and come back once again out there and put himself to be in a position where, no matter how many frames he's behind, he always seems to have the ability to come back on top out there, but whether that's going to be the case or not, we'll have to wait and see. And for now, he still finds himself to be in a position of contention, I would say, and looking to try and get it back down to a decent opportunity of getting those type of reds away. Is that going to be the case? We'll have to wait and see. For now, he's going to be down to Yize trying to get himself back to that 2-frame advantage. If he does it, great. If he doesn't, tough luck, and he's going to have to try and do it later on. And of course that would see the 2-frame gap to slip away from him, not for the first time in this season, in this tournament, and in this match as well. So I still wait for that brilliant run that we've seen against the likes of Lipe Fan, against the likes of Barry Hawkins, against Watchalong. There he was absolutely against Salgadon in the Masters, against Shaun Murphy in the Masters as well, where he was just playing incredible snooker and didn't seem like he was going to leave a chance away to your opponent. So then, just looking for those type of break-off shots there. And once again, is that going to be back to same old there from Shaun Murphy? Well, he's had 4 out of 5 breaks that he's considered an attempt from. Now, make that 5 out of 6. Whether he's going to be able to take this one or not, the relationship between that break-off shot and Shaun Murphy seems to have worsened over the past couple of frames. And once again, the relationship between Longpots and Yize seemed like it's going to be a very much the brilliant one and the best that you could possibly imagine. Look at how well he's managed to strike that one into the corner and still position himself to be the man trying to put Shaun Murphy into a little bit of trouble here again. So looking to do very much an alternative thing on what Shaun done previously, trying to take the cue ball into those reds, and it doesn't seem like he's going to have to play this shot too badly either, although he's going to have to be compromising those blacks and pinks here because he's going to have a very much that break-off shot by Murphy. I would say 9 times out of 10, if not more than that, he does compromise the black and push it towards the black cushion, which is going to be down to a bit of a test there for the players. As Yize tries to accelerate that cue ball towards the blue, but ultimately, even though he's going to be on the lower side of a blue, it's still not too bad because he's going to have a chance to try and play through this blue, get that cue ball to be running to the top edge of the table and put himself very much in a position of trying to take that red away into the left corner. Played that shot with plenty of power, trying to just get around the cue ball here in terms of this line and make sure he's still going to be nicely lined up for the red to be taken into the left corner. So play this one with a touch of topspin and probably get himself to be positioned for the black here to be taken. Oh, he's tried to take that one, the blue, and it seemed like the spin sort of kicked in through the shot there, and now he's going to get himself in the chance of taking the blue away once again. So still looking to try and go for the shot to be taken and positioning himself nicely for the blue here. And recovering from Hurricane Melissa, well, doesn't sound too good. Still looking for, trying to go for the blue now, in towards the right middle. And, well, I mean, the problem with those type of reds is that you can't really spot a place where you can get that cue ball to be a sort of zonal mark there and then you're going to be fine on taking one of those reds away. I feel like the third closest to the pink might actually be available, but he's got something else on his mind. Whatever it was, well, I mean, I can't really tell which one of those 5 reds that he was playing for, but I can't really see the one that is going to be on one right now. Well, he's going to have to go for the lowest, which is not bad, I suppose. I feel like he was trying to go for the second lowest, though, into the right corner. Let's see if this one is going to be dropped in. It will be. And now we'll be down to a shot on the blue now to be taken. And, well, he's going to be straight on this one again. And this time around, he may have to go for a short selection on the brown here. Because, of course, if you take the blue away, you basically commit to scoring 5 more points. And that's going to be break over. But now he's still going to look for those opportunities to be taking the brown away. For that cue ball to run from 1-2. And 3 cushions at the end. So is he on the reds? Well, the question is, which one of those reds can he actually go for, if any of them? Because ideally, he wants to try and get that cue ball to be positioned for the blue. He may not really have a red here. I mean, he's thinking about trying to cannon the pink away from those 2 reds closest to it, but he does need loads of power for that to be the case. He'll go for it, but I'm saying, of course, it makes the red missable, and also you're playing that cue ball to be potentially covered by those 2 reds. I mean, trying to avoid putting unwanted side spin on it. Now, what can he get this red into the corner pocket? Can he? No, he can't. He's missed that by a mile. And even if he made that one in, he still would not have been perfectly on the blue. But at the end stage, you know, because he's going to be lined up for the blue into the left corner, of course, as you might have guessed, he managed to get away with that. And all the reds that he's left for Sean Murphy is going to be just 1 red. And down to a chance here for Sean Murphy to get back himself in contention. But at the same time, he doesn't really have plenty of options here to choose from. Probably the red to be taken into the yellow pocket is the only one that, you know, you could consider from a ridiculous point of view. But of course, realistically speaking, he's going to have to try and take that red away with some sort of a double. Whether it's going to be down just a very careful shot towards the left side cushion. Make sure he's not going to be too close with it. And yeah, in the end, it's not going to look too bad for him, to be fair. Still going to have a chance to be playing the red away and into the right middle pocket. I mean, he's played this shot before, you know, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for it again. And I mean that. And, well, whether that was the intention. You could see with where the cube was heading. He completely mishit that one. And how well he's played that on the previous occasion that I was talking about. Well, for now, it seemed like that was very much the ultimate blunder. Look at how badly he misjudged the contact point. The fact that the red was passing the blue on the wrong side probably tells you everything. And that genuinely was an attempt of a cross double. Well, could not have got any further away. And now Murphy's going to have not an easy red, but a chance to be taking it into the corner. That one he's going to come begging. And I'm very surprised to see that from Sean, because that was a chance to try and turn this frame around. Right now, he probably has conceded a really good opportunity here for Yize. As long as he managed to put the pink save, to be fair, I mean, that will be very much down to a different situation for Yize to try and play based on those colours, but he's going to be able to find a really good contact point on those reds, managing to force that cue ball to be played for the green here, not for blue. And yeah, he's going to have a chance to play the green away into its own pocket, still get himself positioned for the red to be taken into the right middle. Once again from the ref cam, plenty of power behind the previous shot, and still looking to try and get that one in. Positioning for the blue here, being the top side of it certainly helps, but at the same time, it was very much down to a decent shot that he's played previously on that the red before this one, and managing to get himself lines up so nicely on the green certainly helped on the fact as well. And now just trying to make sure there is going to be a point of the cue ball to be running towards the lower end of the table, and a little damage compared to other people who are lucky. Well, as I say, it's a very serious topic, and prayers are going to be with you in the region as well, because sometimes natural disaster is something that is very difficult for you to deal with, but of course it's still a thing that can do so much damage to people. Now, just looking at the blue to be taken into the right middle here, he's going to be top side of it again, so he needs to try and keep those things to be very much pointing in that direction, as once again He leaves that cue ball to be slightly on the run for the Reds, to be taken into the left corner, and now allowing himself to go for that type of a shot off the left side cushion, and make sure he will be coming down to it. And Red to be taken into the corner, get that cue ball to keep on running towards the left side, and manage to overrun for the blue here, which is a nice thing, because as long as you don't underrun, you're always going to have the bold colours to choose from if you feel like he's going to be taking it to extreme level. But for now, still very comfortable on the blue, and looking more and more Red that he's managed to put already, not scoring maximum amount of points, but still getting 45 points of a lead, and just a matter of time until he decides there's going to be time for him to try and keep the cue ball to be on the black here, because hasn't decided to be doing that now. And now once again going to be sending the cue ball nicely lined up top side of the blue. Only 2 more Reds to be taken right next to the black ball spot, and then at that stage you probably should be clear of any danger from Sean Murphy's point of view, because that will leave it down to 59 points to be available. And at the end, it does seem like he will be very much down to 3 more shots to play. And, well, depends on which colour he wants to try and take, because he's overrun slightly for one of those Reds and underrun for the other one. So there is going to be a natural angle to try and position the cue ball to be on the black, and of course that will leave him very much down to a frame ball on the next Red. If he's going to try and take this one with a blue, he'll be very much coming down to the next colour. So 4 more shots that he needs to play, including this one. Oh, that's going to be a little bit wide, but just about drops in there, exploiting the maximum limit of that pocket, and still going to have himself lined up for the green here. So because of how wide he managed to open up the angle, he was always going to be playing closer towards the ball colours here, and that's exactly how he's going to be positioning himself for the yellow and green, and not for the blue to be taken into the right middle. So then once again, it's having a look at those 2 Reds that he's probably going to be aiming towards now, because that will allow him to try and have great control of the cue ball. Make sure you allow him to be taking those Reds away, not being too far away on the blue either. And of course, the fact that he had to go for the cheap colour on the green will change the dynamic slightly in relation to the frame ball. Can't get anything done, spend the whole day listening to you. Well, thank you very much, appreciate that comment as well. We'll win. We'll have to wait and see if that's going to be the case, because for now, he's still looking very much on the scoreboard and realising that he needs to take 2 more shots away. Pretty much, well, as long as he doesn't play for the yellow, which he won't, he's going to have to try and just roll the black in. Make sure he doesn't concentrate too much on bringing that cue ball to be lined up for those Reds, which is not really the way for him to be heading on about the business, but at least he manages to get the job done in relation to the points on the board. And now 63 points of a lead, 15 under the table, and Murphy is going to have to try and get the cue back in his hand there, you would feel, because this is going to be a safety shot that Yize plays. And ultimately, despite the position being a challenging one, you feel like there's still going to be a point where the break of 40 points won't be enough out there for Yize. And still, now he's got 5 of his highest breaks to be all 50 plus out there, which is not too bad, as I say, in the first 11 frames. Now we're going to be getting a point of 72, 77, 85, 98 and 109 there for Murphy, which is not too bad either. But ultimately, he is going to be the one that finds himself 5-7 down here, unless he's able to do the ultimate comeback and try and produce a couple of snookers here on the spot. So still positioning himself for the Red to be taken into the left corner, and looking to try and take that one with a brilliant long shot. And that's not going to be a long safety battle either, because now he's going to eliminate any sort of doubt, any sort of judgment calls from Sean Murphy. There's not going to be a singular point for you to be coming back to the table. It will be purely down to a nice blue to be taken now towards the right corner, which he's missed it, nearly fluked it again. But at the same time, you still feel like it won't be worth it for Sean Murphy. Because he missed the blue there, Yize may just about be worth it to have a look at it. He does find himself 13 points behind, which I would say is just outside the zone where he should be trying to play those type of snookers. But in the end, Murphy feels otherwise. He's going to be lined up on the Reds and having a very direct transition to the black as well. So if he takes those 2 Reds away with the black, gets him 16 points on the board, and then he's going to have to try and find 13 more based on foul shots, which, even though you can get up to 15 points on a single snooker lined up, but it doesn't really happen at all at any time in the world. It's just a technical thing there, that if you hit the black and you leave away a free ball, then you can give up to 15 points away to your opponent. It's going to be a big bounce on the side cushion, and it will be down to disappointment there from Murphy. And, well, not sure what the reaction was all about. I mean, he played that one clearly way too close towards the side cushion, and now we'll be down to a shot for Yize here to try and finish the job away. And as I say, it was always going to be a massive long shot for him, but at the same stage, now we'll be very much down to a shot to be played for just trying to get that raid to be somewhat safe. And still, despite being pretty much 100 points down on his opponent, he finds himself to be 2 frames clear, looking for a double, which wasn't too far away, but this time around, it will be enough to force Sean Murphy to concede the frame, and he will be down to a mid-session interval here for Yize to be carrying the lead over into 5 frames to 7. Well, that was a really good start for him, because now he manages to make sure he's managed to win 3 frames out of the first 4, and he's done those in style as well. The breaks are 51, 82 and 103 certainly were the way to announce himself that he's going to be here to play some brilliant snooker, and he's done that really, really well. Once again, based on predictions, I did say 9-8 to Murphy, and I probably would have to concede. It's very unlikely to happen from this stage, but still, we haven't seen something like this from Yize, where he's been able to recover himself from a bit of a setback, and still very much to be the man, looking to try and come back and, be producing some great snooker later on in those couple of frames. What took vitamins for dinner? Well, maybe took a little bit of a, pep talk there as well. As you can see, Sean Murphy is now going to have 694 points, which is going to be sitting on 609. Ball spotted 177 for Yize, 193 for Sean Murphy. So despite all of that, I mean, Murphy, by the way, is leading in pretty much every single department of those stats there. If anything, he's leading in every single one there. That is crazy. I mean, he's got more total points. He's managed to put more balls. He's got a better pot success rate of 91% over to 87. 76% of a long pot success. His safety is better by a couple of percent as well. And the highest break, as you can see, is going to be down to 109 versus 103. That is absolutely massive there. And of course, all of that is now going to be in favour of Sean Murphy as well. Well, Sean Murphy as well, yeah, to an extent. But at the same time, the man that does find himself to be with 7 frames next to his name will be very much down to Yize here. That does put himself to be leading after those 12 frames, and now still looking to try and make it down to the final showdown. Whether it will happen here, and you'll have to be very much down to, a couple of more frames for Sean Murphy to win before you can really start to be talking about it. For now, he'll be certainly down to a decent opportunity to be taking this one away. Did I miss any drama? Not real drama. I mean, there was the first brown, the first colour that he's taken. It probably was just down to, a bit of disappointment for it. But at the same stage, I probably wouldn't put it to drama. He was a little bit disappointed, but at the end stage, it was very much down to, you see that, you move on, and you make sure that it won't happen again. So, well, whether it will happen again or not, we'll have to wait and see, but for now, it certainly doesn't seem like he's going to care about that one too much, because he's going to have to acknowledge that his opponent has been playing better than him, and also, he doesn't seem like he's playing with such ease as it was for him in the first session out there, because he still has got more breaks of 50 plus there, of 6 of those. 1 century of 109, 1 century now for Yize of 103, and of course the 5 breaks that you can see ahead of your screen is very much the only 5 breaks that we've seen from him as well. So, France won against Japan in the table tennis championship. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I don't really do that one. I do like the clay one, the clay tournament tennis, and I'm certainly looking forward to Roland Garros. It's a shame that Carlos was not going to be playing in that one, but I would hope that Martin is going to be able to try and continue our brilliant form in the WTA, and certainly rooting for someone like Iga to come back to a good standard of play as well, because she has been slightly on the downside of things, but once again, I suppose it's not a surprise. Wood played much better than in the first session. We have rice and peas and chicken on Sunday traditional. Wow, I'll tell you what, it's not a bad start at all. It's not a bad start for you at all, and if you try and keep yourself positive, well, it's about as much as you can go for. Try and stay positive is pretty much down to what you can achieve to yourself as well. So yeah, whether that will be very much down to it, we'll have to wait and see. Let me just try and sort out the screen to be with a webcam. A little bit annoying to myself, and it seemed like it's going to be fine now. Cool, good stuff. Right, if you've got any more polls that you want me to be doing, feel free to share those, because we got only 2 more sessions after this one, and then you'll certainly come down to a bit of a disappointment that because the snooker season is going to be over, as much as there's still going to be plenty of work for me to try and do behind the scenes. We have established that it will be down to Xiaozington to be the player number 1, then it'll be down to Watchalong to be the potential, I would say the ace, potentially, that we're going to keep in our pocket. And then the remaining 2 players is very much going to be down to Shaun Murphy or Yize. I feel like you probably have to say at this stage, Murphy had a better season than Judd, unfortunately. Because, well, for Judd, unfortunately, I mean, I don't really care. Because both of them won a title. Murphy has been to fewer finals, but ultimately it's only been fewer to one of them. And ultimately now, as you can see, he's in the World Championship final. So he's been to the final of German Masters, where he lost to Chomp. He's been to the final of the Xi'an Grand Prix, where he lost to Mark Williams. He's been to the final of the British Open, that of course he's managed to win. And yeah, of course he now finds himself in the World Championship final. So I feel like you're really going to be running out of arguments to see why Trump should be ahead of Murphy for the best player of the season here. 73 in June, still running around like a good one. Well, that's nice to see from you as well. And yeah, so I would say, once again, it depends on here, because it's difficult for me to say whether right now I will put Yize to have a better season than Judd, because I feel like that's going to be a lot more of a statement, because it's the only other final that he's managed to reach. Yes, it's the World Championship final, but you feel like, if he doesn't win this one, he had a very quiet couple of months there, because he's done nothing in German, nothing in the World Grand Prix, nothing in the Players' Championship, nothing at the, at the Tour Championship. Had a decent Welsh, got into the semi-finals, but that wasn't really good enough. So I watched Zverev this afternoon, was hoping seeing a part of the match where I came home, finished. Yeah, it was straight set, 6-1, 6-2. I was actually seeing that one, but the problem for Zverev is that he couldn't hold serve, man. Sinner had absolutely no problem. He was cruising through to it. And the best thing about Zverev is that he probably enjoyed himself to be throwing a little bit of champagne as well. Because it genuinely looked like he was enjoying that. Throwing champagne on Sinner, by the way, he seemed like he enjoyed that one more than Sinner actually enjoyed it himself. So, I suppose if he's going to be entertained, then absolutely feel free to be doing that. But yeah, I feel like Sinner is going to be very lonely without someone like, well, I'm pretty sure Djokovic wasn't really playing because of his injury. And of course, same with Alcaraz. We don't really have the comeback of someone like De Minaur is struggling badly. Shelton, never been a clay player. Fils, you generally have Arthur Fils, I should say. Don't really have, Letitia is going to be able to tell me how you should pronounce his name, because he's very much French. But yeah, you probably feel like he's the man that played Sinner in the final a couple of weeks ago, and he's genuinely the one that managed to put up more of a fight there to Sinner, because at least he didn't get broken a couple of times in that final set. So, of course, it was still in the semis, which Arthur is going to be very happy with as well. But, yeah. It's going to be very much down to, Zverev is no match for him. I'm sorry, but Felix finds himself to be in top 5. Fritz and Shelton have been doing nothing on clay. Musetti, not really heard of him anything about him either. De Minaur. Then I've got 3 people that wouldn't spend a second talking about. Caboli, we've spoken about him before. Casper dropped down the rankings as well. Vacher, the fact that Vacher finds himself in the world number 70 spot is absolutely criminal. He's above the likes of Tin, Tommy Paul, Francis Tiafoe, Francisco Cerundolo. Well, that's just an incredible way for him to try and get himself against Draper as well. So many points that he's lost. Injured again ever since his match against Echeverri in Spain. In Barcelona, I should say. And that was very much down to pretty much a month ago as well. Wow. Son in French. Fees. You have to say something like Fis. Okay, there you go. Yeah, because I've heard a couple of people saying that, but yeah, it's one of them. we do have, as foreigners, we probably haven't really got the best way of pronouncing the other nation's name, because you do need to basically be told what you have to say about it, and then when you do very much get the hand of it, then it should be a little bit easier for you starting from that point as well. But yeah, ultimately, it still feels like it will be coming down to a decent opportunity here for either one of the players to come back with a win, because it'll be very much down to Sean Murphy to be the man trying to come out on top here. Whether he'll be able to do that or not, we'll have to wait and see, but he's still looking very nicely to try and make a game out of this one. As I say, probably doesn't need to panic here at all, because he'll find himself to be in a position of panic if he's going to be 5-8 or 5-9 down, which is going to have to be some proper panic at that stage. But even at that stage, I mean, if he's going to be finding himself 5-9 down and he's got 3 more frames to play, I mean, he wouldn't really be surprised if he comes down to 5-9 to be at the advantage at some stage, and then Murphy manages to get it down to, sort of 8-9 or something. So Yize still very much needs to try and work his way towards, establishing himself as the winning player of the session no matter what happens. But it doesn't seem like he's had too bad of a start either with the first 4 frames, allowing himself to be very much in charge of what's going to be happening now. And still looking forward to seeing a little bit more of the people to return of the crowd. And that will be the real sign that the match is about to be restarted on here as well. So, yeah, very quickly, by the way, on the maximum things, have we actually seen any realistic hopes? Because every single time I think about it, I feel like, the one where they were showing one of the audience members saying that they're going to be more nervous than anyone, and then Yize and Mr. Black into the left corner very much the next second out there. That probably was the point where, it comes and rings a bell for me, but we'll have to wait and see if we're going to get another one of those chances, because it's always unlikely to happen at the Crucible, but at the same time, you still feel like there's going to be a realistic hope for it at the time, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be very much this season that it will happen, although you never quite know. It was the 16th frame of that 2023 season where it was very much down to it, and for now, we're still finding ourselves to be in a place of potential luxury out there, because we have seen so many of those high-value breaks, which, plenty of fans would have been really happy about as well. But ultimately, if you talk about what's going to happen ahead of us now, you probably have to put it down to Sean Murphy not playing too well, Yize playing really well at some stage, and then dropping off a little bit and managing to pick up again. So it wasn't too bad at all. And listen, it comes back down to, if you win those frames without playing well, brilliant. If you play well and you win it, then you're unstoppable. But it doesn't always come back to just having that great run, which will allow you to be very much the man, looking to try and win every single one of those frames, and still put yourself to be in a position of, looking back on those type of performances. And you're going to be like, well, you know what, I could not have played any better. It doesn't really matter if you have or haven't, because you still put yourself to be in a position of trying to go for those sort of runs, which will allow you to be very much down to a decent points opportunity. So if you talk about those breaks, 51, 61, 65, 82, and 103 is not too bad for Yize, but it probably does come down to, is that good enough for you to have a record after the first 12 frames? I'd probably say it's marginal, but I'd probably say it's just about good enough, because what that does tell me is that, he doesn't always get over the finish line. Because, by the way, I mean, the thing about Murphy is that he's managed to have 5 50-plus breaks, 6 I should say of those, but 5 of the frames that he's won them pretty much with a single break of a visit to the table. Because even though I'm not saying that every single one of those, he didn't have a chance to be conceded, but if you think about the breaks of 72, 77, 85, 98, and 109, either one of those, because he wasn't going for a maximum on 72, I'm pretty sure that was down to a total clearance, every single one of those breaks would be good enough for you to win a frame. And this is why he's going to get himself down to 692 points, because, you've got 149, you've got very much down to 234, you've got 332, you've got 441 points to be ahead of yourself with those 5 breaks alone. That's more than, that's around 60% of all those points that he managed to score. And of course, that's going to be coming down to 5 frames that he's managed to win. And, still, he could have easily scored 300 more points in the remaining 7 frames. Yes, he's lost all of them. But remember, the first frame was down to the last bank. The second frame was down to the last pink. The last frame was down to the last black. That Yize has decided he didn't need that black, but still, he decided to still try and take that one away. So, yeah, you're going to certainly put yourself to be in a position of some sort of control out there, whether it will be down to be enough to try and keep Murphy quiet, because it does seem like when you don't keep it quiet and you allow him to have those couple of shots to be taken at you, then you're certainly going to be in with a great chance of, making those breaks that do count for him. And you can see, by the way, I mean, looking at those stats a minute ago, there was nobody in the crowd now. They clearly allowed everyone to be back in, and, it's very much down to just a couple of rows to be missing on the, very much towards the yellow pocket and towards the, that part of the table. And then you're always going to have, a bit of an anschlag there. And very much overcrowding there to a certain extent as well. Hoping that there's not going to be too many disruptions in a session, because we're now down to 5 more frames to be taken, and it'll certainly be down to a decent opportunity for the fans to try and enjoy themselves. As you can see, someone waving to the camera and probably watching themselves on the stream, as they have got that on their phone. I'll never forget the point of the qualifiers in the World Championship when they had to give a phone from the fans to David Gilbert so that they were trying to check where the reds and the colours were. And that was absolutely hilarious to me, because I've never seen that in any other sport, and only in snooker the technology is not going to be good enough for you to try and actually put the reds and the colours exactly where they were. I get it's a qualifier, and I get it's not going to be played at the Crucible, it's going to be played at the institution of sport, but at the same time, I mean, still, it's going to be a little bit baffling. Now that we had more than 300 people to be voting, have you played snooker in your life? 77% have said yes, 23% have said no. So, it's going to be down to those things as well. 78% now. So if you do have any more polls, feel free to let me know. I've got one for you. Is Luca Brissell ever going to be good enough? It's a bit harsh, but, he's probably not going to be watching anyway. Is Luca Brissell going to be great again? Let's say great again. Yes or no? Going to be very interesting to see. And by great, I mean winning ranking titles. I hope someone will tell Sean to change his break-off shot plan to aggressive and overly positive. Well, I would say, Lost Butcher, that it's once again, he needs to be very much down to the percentage thing for him, because just because he has not gone right for him so far in the final, but he's been making that work until, I don't know, probably since the German Masters that I've noticed that in the final against Judd, where he was playing really, really well with that break-off. And at that stage, I'd still probably say it was down to, work in progress. But at this stage now, it'd be very much down to a decent opportunity to have been taken, because I feel like if you're going to have that break-off not to be working for you in those 2 or 3 shots, you shouldn't just say, well, I should change the whole thing, because he clearly spent loads of time trying to analyse it and get the look, it's a one-hit wonder. Well, it's probably the opinion that I'm going to stick to. It was a brilliant one-hit wonder, by the way, because he still seems to have found himself in a position to well, once again, Rob Spencer making sure, and what I really like is that he is calling himself very much the opposite of a parrot, saying that he doesn't want to be doing this after every session, and well, that clearly tells me that on the previous mini session, there was a phone ringing from somewhere, and when I don't watch the match, the Woods winning, when I start watching he's losing, guess I'll check back in an hour. Well, as a strategy there, Groomsman, I was sort of following that beforehand, but then I just thought, you know what, if I'm not going to see it, then I may as well not bother. And if I'm going to be watching Ronnie O'Sullivan to try and play, then it's going to be very much down to one of those shots there for me that I'm probably going to trust in his ability, but if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out for me. But yeah, for now, 62% of you, and it's now gone back to 59, say that Luca Brissell is not going to be great again, which I feel like I wouldn't say it's a 50-50. I would say it's 65 to 35. I feel like we've seen that he's trying to be the one player that he was 3 years ago, but it's not really going to be down to it, because I feel like in 23 and 24, Let's see. Murphy saying there's going to be something at the right corner. Let's have a look at the interaction with Rob Spencer and Sean Murphy. Well, once again, I mean, there was the first shot in the first frame of this session, which seems to have put him off badly. So let's just try and keep an audio on, because it always seems like the things are happening very much at the start of this mini session. Now he's gone for the red, he's missed it. Let's see where the cue ball's going to bounce. He's going to bounce straight to the brown, and he will leave a long red available here for Yize to be taken into the corner. Well, that's going to be a bit of a pity, that, for Sean, because it's exactly what happened in the brown in the first frame of the second session. Well, Yize doesn't seem like he's going to be getting himself to be involved with too many of those shots, but I'm very surprised that he has turned down to be hitting a red into the left corner and just trying to spread those reds away from each other. So clearly wasn't too happy with the positioning, which probably was the only missing thing out of that shot, because, you know, he could have played around the black usually, but at that point he would have had to try and keep the line to be very tight and just basically try and play for the blue to be taken on. So now it'll be very much coming down to Sean Murphy here to come back to the table. So it's not quite going to be as the first frame, because that brown that he has taken and missed into the left middle, you know, certainly now going to be very much back down to, you know, a good old story here of a couple of safeties to be played. Although I'm not sure how well he's played this one, because of the red, the third closest to the left side cushion. Does that one go into the left corner? Because if it does, there's going to be a bit of an interesting situation here in relation to the way the cue ball that wants to be heading towards the right side cushion here. So is he going to try and go for it? Well, he's certainly using the red. It's difficult to play safe with it. So he's trying to go for it. He's taking that one well. He's taken that one brilliantly well. And has he overplayed this one? Because the white is going to be close towards the yellow pocket, and he will be into the pocket as well. That's such a pity, that, from Yize's point of view. And he will be down to Sean Murphy to come back to the table. He's only going to have 4 points next to his name. And Luca is one of a rare player I don't like watching play. I feel like he plays snooker like pool, hitting super strongly in the red pack, spreading everything randomly, in my opinion, of course. I understand that, because I feel like there are similarities with Trump on that one, but I feel like Trump has got a lot more better technique on it, because when I say similarities, there's going to be cue power action, which is going to be probably number one comparison, but there's always going to be, you know, the way of Brussels having those brilliant lines. And once again, it does come back to when he plays really well, you will be down to a good opportunity for him to try and beat anyone. But when he doesn't play well, and something that Trump has actually managed to develop on massively, he's still got a plan B to try and take it away, try and dig deep, try and go for something else, try and go for those loose reds. I feel like, you know, Luca is going to be very much like Chinese players, where if something doesn't go their plan, and he's going to have to be absolutely everything to be perfect, then they can lose their head very simply and just start to be doing reckless stuff out there, which I feel like that wasn't really the case against Jack Jones, but to an extent that was the case in the qualifiers, because he got shot down on his break building skills. He didn't really play that clinical because he wasn't getting those chances to be utilised from the first time, and you know, that was very much at the end of him, because he's very much a one-dimensional player, and right now he's not playing well enough, anywhere near well enough, so that one dimension is going to work for him nicely. So that's probably going to be down to what it is. Sean breakoff shot is very good strategy in most situations, but not this one against this opponent right now. Yeah, but I would disagree with that again. I understand what you mean. Higgins is a very different player to Yize. Long shots for Higgins probably have been the Achilles heel for him. Absolutely agree. But when he comes back down to the likes of Sao Guidon, when he comes back down to the likes of Fang Jingyi, and especially when he comes down to the likes of Zhao Xington, you know, the first 3 matches that he's played with the Crucibles, by the way, Yize's got a really nice line, and he's just about going to be short on the pace. I mean, he's played a brilliant line there, but at the end stage, the cue ball just can't reach the target, and he's going to have to try and play this one again. and try and replicate that line again. I feel like that was worked out brilliantly for, I'm not going to say I was keeping so close of an eye against Fang Jingyi. I certainly was doing that against Xiao Guodong, and I certainly was doing that against Zhao Xington, and that break-off shot was working perfectly well. So I feel like if he's able to shut down those two players, as much as, there is still going to be difference in between Yize and those two, but at the same time, I'll probably say he will be down to a decent opportunity if he can try and shut down the likes of Zhao Xington and Xiao Guodong. Both of them are not bad long potters at all, and they haven't been able to exploit that break-off shot, so I would say he's still going to have a decent chance to try and do the same thing with Yize here as well, but it's going to be one of them. I feel like, once again, very quickly on Luca, since we have got a bit of a safety battle going on. With Luca, you have to be a fan of him, and you have to be that fan of the way that he plays the game so that you're going to be getting on board with it, which I completely understand. If that's not with you, that's fine. But what I would say is that if it comes back down to a decent opportunity for Luca Brissell to be back to where he was 3 seasons ago, and he takes it, it will be very interesting to be watching, because you never quite know what you're going to get with him. And it's difficult to be calling a player like him right now, because, I say he's one-dimensional. Chang Min-yu, Yize, Xizhou, Wei Zhao, well, Zhao Xington probably still Zhao Xington, are all one-dimensional to me, but they're all a lot better than Luca Brissell. So where does Luca come back into this pack there? Because the thing about 23 and 24 that I forgot to mention there, the level of Luca in these 2 or 3 years is improved massively. Massively. And when I say massively, I mean look at the way that we don't have a single player to have won more than one ranking event apart from Zhao Xington. Yes, we're going to have, well, to be fair, we're going to have one of those two to do that, because Yize and Sean Murphy have managed to do it. And Trump can indeed play very strongly as Ronnie, by the way, but most of the time he did it at the end of a frame. He knows how to win. Exhibition mode, it's not all the time. Yes, and this is what I mean with Trump. He's got a great ability, because I mean that with all the respect to Trump, because he genuinely can, even when the frame is not won. By the way, it's a bit of a weird shot from Murphy. To me, he seems to have left the cut on now for the left middle. But with Trump, he can get himself out of trouble with those shots. When you underline, you overplay, you're not going to be perfectly lined up. And, just looking to try and go for a shot on the red. And as he played this one well enough, well, he's got the red in. Now, how's the position going to look? And it's not going to it's not going to look back. But I feel like the bounce of the cushion absorbed all that power on the cue ball. And in the end, he's going to have to try and go for the green, probably, to be taken into its own pocket. The yellow is not really going to get him the angle. But, yeah, the thing about Judd is that no matter which position he finds himself with, he always seems like there's always a chance that he'll be able to find himself back there. He's a lot more consistent. He's got a lot more plan B and plan C of a game, where he just goes for those loose reds. The positional play is good with him. And, once again, long shots, all that type of stuff. The pot success is not bad at all. You can allow him to be dropping back away from those easy reds, and you still fancy him to take it in. Probably say he's not the best player under pressure, but I really like the way that he knows about it. He's not happy with himself to be losing the decider to Higgins in the Masters, to be losing a decider to, to Higgins in the Players' Championship as well. It could have been easily 2 more finals, which I feel like it's a little bit different to say what could have been against Zhao Xington in the Players, because we see that Trump wasn't able to perform in the Tour Championship, despite him being by far probably the best player coming into that match, apart from Xington himself. As Yize goes for another good yellow to be taken into its own pocket. So now looking to try and make some real progress towards getting the number 8 next to his name, not just because of the points that he's about to score on this raid, but ultimately due to those frames as well. Of course, still very much plenty of work for him to try and do here. And he's going to have to start now, and he's going to start badly here. Well, does he go for the black like that? Because it does give him plenty of flexibility here in relation to what can he achieve here. 5-7, didn't expect that. Luca's a little bit too loose. Yeah, I feel like he's a little bit too loose without second Lou there. He's losing way too many, matches at this stage. And of course, he's lost those 500,000 worth of ranking points, and he's now dropped out of the top 40. And of course, he's not performing at this World Championship either, so he's going to lose even more points due to, at least he made it down to the, to the main draw, because of him being very much in the top 16 at that stage because of getting 500,000 worth of ranking points. Brilliant shot there from Yize, getting that black into the corner. And now, is he going to be able to take the red away into the right corner? He can. Now, as I say, he's going to have the black available. And it does seem like he's going to have all the ingredients for a very interesting visit to the table now. Trump and Robertson not good at the Crucible horse. Of course, yeah, I mean, it's weird with both of them, to be fair, but because Robertson was the player that I used to fear most as a Ronnie fan in 2014, 15, 16. Probably after that, there was Selby, there was Bingham, which is a little bit weird right to be saying right now, but Bingham was genuinely such a threat to me because every single time he seems to have played Ronnie, like Ronnie never got a good record against him, and you know, that's always the impression that I got. But same with Robertson, because even when Ronnie got the better of him, it still seemed like Robertson is always going to be able to try and make a real game out of it as well, which, you know, at the end stage is not something that we see at the Crucible now, because Neil managed to make it towards the quarter-final stage, lost to Higgins, and of course, same happens with Judd Trump, where he lost out to Hossein Mafei, because it could have still been a very difficult match for Yize and Judd Trump at the quarterfinals, but at the same time, he probably would have fancied a really interesting match as well. At the semi-finals, I should say. Is that at the semi-finals? No. Don't tell me that Trump has lost in the second round. I mean, how has he lost in the second round? I know he was to Hussein, but he had such a difficult start of the match against Gary Wilson. And yeah, I mean, it probably just proves the point. It doesn't seem like he's going to get a good run of the Crucible, but as he manages to very calmly point out himself, he probably just sums up the season. You know, way too many of those deciders that he's lost. Yes, he's won one against, I can't remember who it was now, against Murphy. Was that against Murphy in the Tour Championship? When he had a really good match, or against Alan he was down to 10-8. So he probably was down to Sean, that he was able to be in the Tour Championship, but pretty much the only decider that he's managed to beat him with. So, yeah, and of course the players have met 12 months ago in the second round, and, you know, Murphy was eliminated by Trump, with 13 frames to 10 being the win. Now, Yize is still looking to try and get the audience to be talking about him, because now he's going to be looking for 5-8 of Elite to be very much the reality if a couple of more Reds are going to find their way towards corner pockets, because now, I'll tell you what, he's really looking like he's coming alive here, and he's still very much looking like he's going to get a decent chance of trying to get some really important points now on the board. And still, with his black, he's going to extend his fifth highest break there so far in the match and make it down to 6 breaks of 50 plus for him, in relation to, you know, 6 of those, of course, that we've seen from Sean Murphy as well. Yes, Murphy ones are a little bit higher in relation to sort of meaning in terms of the value, but in terms of the value for the frames, of course, you have to say there's going to be plenty of value for Yize there, because despite him still having fewer points than Sean Murphy, he's now going to be just a couple of shots away from trying to make it down to 5-8 of a lead. You know, guaranteed not to be losing by more than a frame there, and of course, for that to be the case, you'll have to lose 4 out of the remaining frames as well. Now, just getting that cue ball to be stunned through the blue ball spot, and looking to try and play the red into the right corner. And as I say, probably comes back to those couple of misses that we've seen in the previous couple of frames, and even in this one from Murphy, because the chance that he left the way to Yize, as much as it was a brilliant shot from the player from China, but at the same time, you probably have to put it down to a little bit of a, you know, uncertainty there on those type of shots that Murphy's played with. And even though it was a brilliant long range, but still, I feel like, you know, Murphy probably just can't say that he's been brilliant, his opponent, because it doesn't really matter how you lose the final. It's down to if you win it or if you lose it, of course. And now will be down to very much a shot for the frame here, because he's going to have 61 points ahead, 59 remaining, but still, you want to just make sure that this red is going to be eliminated, and then he will be back down to a really good chance for Yize. It was very sad for Trump, but the one's on fire. Just, yeah, I mean, well, this is what I say, but, you know, it just feels like Trump probably has got a bit more of an excuse than Murphy to me. That I didn't really like the comment from Sean that's saying that everyone has to be perfect to trying to beat them, and he's came across so many of those players this season, because you know, name me a player that has beaten Murphy and managed to win the tournament. Here's a quiz for you. I mean, of course, you're going to have to say Mark Williams and what's his name, Watchalong, because that was in the final. But let's just try and talk through the other couple of points. You mentioned Chang Min-yu, which was a brilliant performance, 4 centuries in 4 frames. Chang didn't really get far at all in that Welsh Open. Was it the Welsh Open? It was the Welsh Open, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was. It wasn't the Scottish Open because Chang got himself to the final, but he wasn't playing against... Yeah, so it would have been the Welsh Open. Yeah, so, okay, that's one. World Open, I can't really remember. Yeah, he lost to Ronnie, so to be fair, that's probably reasonable. And Ronnie was playing really well. Then talk about English Open. Who did he lose to at that stage? Can't remember because he lost quite earlier as well. Maybe Elias Lesser, because he was the man eliminated all the top seeds in the English Open before he eventually lost out to, one of those seeds himself. And now Yize is looking to try and get that last piece of the jigsaw for the century break. Oh, unable to do it. Unfortunately, he will be down to 89 points of a break and still unable to take it down to the second century. But of course, he won't care about that one too much. And still looking to try and get himself over the finish line. And now he's looking to certainly be on the verge of trying to get himself to be the leading man no matter what happens in the remainder of the second session. He now leads Shaun Murphy, but 5 frames to 8. And it's now going to be down to a good opportunity here for Yize to try and regroup once again and come back to one more frame that he must absolutely win out of the remaining 4. And Yize to keep it up. Well, for now, he's playing on fire there, and he's finally getting himself just 2 points away. I mean, it's still incredible that... 700 points is a lot there for Murphy. Murphy supposedly new secret break is ineffective against Yize, long shot's ability. Yeah, but once again, is that down to Zhao Xington not being to a good form? Because Zhao Xington, he was undoubtedly out of his game completely. But Zhao Xington, he's been the king of long shots this season, but he wasn't able to find the key to that break-off shot by Murphy. And it seemed like that was the reason why it was so effective. I understand that he's going to be very different to it being effective against someone like Higgins. Because Higgins has never been, this season especially, he's never been famous for his long shots, especially at the starting points of a frame. Maybe come the end of a frame, yes, but not really when it comes down to shots like this, it's not. And that may have been the reason here. And it may be down to Shaun Murphy to try and change it. It's going to be the break-off number 13, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be down to Yize. No, it's 14, so it will be down to Shaun Murphy to try and take this one away and very much make sure it will be down to another one of those break-off shots to see. Whether that will be the case, we'll have to find out soon. But for now, the pink is about to go on its own spot, and now it is going to be announcement. Is 1 frame left? No, it's going to be 4 more frames left. So then Shaun Murphy to break. Let's see what we are going to be witnessing here. And is he going to be back to the old school break-off? Surely he can't change it midway through the match, because that's going to be such a blow and such a boost to his opponent as well. But of course, one thing that he can't be doing is leaving those shots constantly away. I don't really understand what the camera is doing, because it's giving me a bit of a problem with my eyes, trying to close up to those reds so badly. Anyway, Yize is now going to be back to the table and now looking to try and exploit that break-off shot, which doesn't seem like it's going to happen at this stage. So it certainly wasn't too bad for Murphy, because now he's going to find himself to be in a position of trying to go for the red into the left corner. Anyway, wow, I thought he was playing a safety shot, but surely he hasn't managed to have another in-off, and that will be the case, just like it was in the previous frame. Well, that is the definition of being unlucky there from Yize. And how well do you play that red away and still not able to do anything with it? And the cue ball is going to be rolling towards the top side of the table here. And now, of course, dropping into the left middle. Now it's going to be a ball in hand for Murphy. Well, can he take that red away into the left corner? Surely he's got to go for it, but it's coming down to whether the black is now going to be playable into the right corner. And it seemed like he was playing for that one, which probably tells you the answer is going to be yes to that particular question. Yeah, Murphy's going to try and go for relentlessly. He doesn't have to worry about his opponent not getting luck without, it's a little bit weird there that Yize is getting all those frames to be won, but he's still not getting any sort of luck there to be heading his direction, it would seem. As Murphy, well, he seems to have played this one proper aggressively. And I tell you what, it hasn't worked out too badly for him because he's still going to have the black to be available into the left corner. And as long as he's got a red to be taken into the right corner, he should be lined up perfectly well for trying to take those ones away with the black to be taken into the left part of it. So still being able to get through to the reds. And, I mean, he's over-screwed for this one. That's a bad shot there for him. He's going to be disappointed. I feel like this is starting to be frustration here for Murphy. And I did not expect this to be the case in the second session. If anything, I expected Yize to be doing exactly things that I'm seeing from Murphy here. And, looking to try and play that Hubel away into the top side of the table. Well, one thing we're not going to see from Murphy is that, of course, he's not going to be heading for those type of shots that we would expect from Yize, where he's just trying to go all in, despite being a couple of frames back there, because he's certainly realizing that it's going to be a very much a 4-session thing, I should say. I was just watching the green there that he played into the left side cushion. He nearly dropped that one accidentally into the right middle of the table. But at the end, it would not have given him any sort of advantage. If anything, it probably would have put him on the back foot there slightly. So, back to Yize here. And what a chance for him to try and take this one. Very much down to his comfort zone. You know, very much getting himself through to a zone of Luca Brissell. Of trying to get plenty of those frames ahead of his opponent. And for now, he's played a bit of a Luca Brissell shot there. Because I'm not sure how many reds he's managed to put towards the corner pocket. But probably the answer is plenty of. But to be fair, he's covered the right corner of the table. And once again, you can see this is such a weird shot from Murphy to play, though, because that's, you know, he's just played that with so much power unnecessarily. I understand there's going to be a point of trying to get in the red away from the cue ball path to seeing the black there, but just not good enough. And now it'll come down to a potential shot here for Murphy to try and take the red away into the left corner. Plenty of power, trying to use the extension of the red and the black to be taken. Well, I'm not sure if he was playing like that, but he certainly managed to get the red in. Well, once again, did he play that? I mean, it's difficult for me to say. I mean, he certainly was trying to exploit those two reds. Have a look. Well, that's going to be very much down to... I'm going to have to wait and see on the expert opinion, because to me, that's a fluke. Because you can't be playing a shot like that intentionally, to me. But, you know, he certainly was trying to use those, the red and the black combination. But at the end stage, I feel like he wasn't really trying to use them like this. Although, I feel like at this stage, we probably do want to see a bit of a, contention here from Murphy's point of view. Now, trying to get himself through to those couple of reds lined up to the corner. Now, still looking to get one into the right edge of it and play that cue ball to be taken on towards the right side cushion. Get it closer towards the pink. Doesn't want it to be too close towards the reds, though. Seems to have played that one well, and he seems to have played that one really, really well. I mean, it depends on what the angle is going to be on the pink, but he certainly is not going to look too bad on him. And he's still got a really nice line on taking the pink away to the left middle whilst playing for the reds to be taken into the right corner now. And now 13 frames in, this is where he's going to have to try and come away with some really good shots there. Really good breaks as well. Current session table time, only 33%. Of course, that's going to be down to multiple things. Only one of those frames that he's managed to win. And the remaining frames, you feel like the majority of the time for him that he has spent at the table was down to those safety shots at the beginning point of a frame, or at the point where Yize already had managed to score some really big points, and Murphy was trying to find some snookers. And of course, it's down to a frame that he managed to win pretty well with that break of, I'm pretty sure it was 77 points or 72, something like that. Now I'm just looking for the short selection on the collars. He's going to be spoiled for choice now in relation to taking the collar in himself, but of course needs to try and think a little bit in a different dimension, trying to play for the red now into the corner. But, the green being in the way of the right middle is probably going to be a lot more of a problem, I would say, than it's going to be an advantage. And you can see so far in session 1, a really good pot success there for Murphy of 92%. In session 2, he'll be down to 86% here as well. And now just looking to try and take that cue ball away from the right side onto the left side, and still playing nicely for the pink to be taken into the left corner. 4 frames left today exactly. He'll be down to this, and 3 more after this one as well. And then he'll be down to 17 frames to have been played. So the format for the final is going to be very much a little bit of a weird one, but it's going to be 8 for the first session, 9 for the second, 8 for the third, and 10 for the final, up to 10 if we are to see another decider for the first time in many, many years. And now in the pink, he's about to go into the left corner again, and Murphy's going to try and make sure that he's going to be getting himself, very much towards Yize here in relation to those frames that he needs to try and win. I still said that he's going to be very much winning this session by 9 frames to 8, which is still possible, but he's going to have to try and win 4 frames on the bounce here, which probably is not necessarily going to be possible. But once again, we've seen this time and time again there, where sometimes the break of Sean Murphy can sort of put Yize under a little bit more pressure, which I always feel like is a bit of a problem in this game, because he needs just to make sure that he can't win every single one of those frames, and there are going to be frames like this where it's not down to his mistake, it's down to being unlucky on the cue ball rolling into the left middle, and now the red is about to be taken into the right corner here as well, so just carefully take the white to be positioned for the right side cushion, give it a huge bounce, going to get himself lined up for the pink now to be taken into the left corner. And still get himself a couple of chances for the red to be taken here towards the right corner here. But once again, plenty of power behind it. Make sure he's going to have that cue ball to accelerate away and into the red to be taken past the black ball spot, which of course the black is going to be out of position since, the previous, not the mistake, but ultimately the previous way that the black wasn't really taken. And would say 3, this one and 2 more. Now, would say... No. Letitia, it's 1 more, this one and 3 more. Because this is number 14, and as I say, we're going to have 17 of those. So, once again, the format for the final is 8 frames for the first session, 9 frames for the second session. By the way, that's a fluke to me. I'm sorry, but that's a fluke. I mean, I'm going to have to wait and see on what's going to happen there. But that first red, I understand that he's always playing into the back of the red and the black, but he's not trying to do what he's done there. I mean, surely he wasn't planning to try and see that red to get lost in those red and black combination and still drop in there. But yeah, once again, the session schedules 8 frames for the first session, 9 frames for this session here, which is going to be 8 plus 9 equals 17. So we need to get past 17 frames. Then for the third session, it's going to be back down to 8 more frames, which is going to bring it back towards 25. And then the final session can consist of up to 10 frames. So as much as it is a little bit confusing, but 35 is very much not a number that can be divided equally by 4. Because you can't have a number that is going to be equally divided by 4. And at the same time, it's going to be very much... an odd number, yeah. So I'm pretty sure there's not going to be an odd number that can be divided by 4. So a little bit of maths for you. Okay, so you're right, John. Yeah, so we will be down to very much down to the blue here to be taken, but it's still some really good shots that we've seen from Sean Murphy, whether he was down to a fluke or he actually has played for that raid away, but he's still going to be able to extend his break-off shot now, and he's now going to have a break of 62 points, looking to try and get himself through to a chance to be making a century break. If he does take it with the total clearance, he's going to have a very difficult shot on the pink and the last red to play. But if he takes the pink twice here, that will get him down to an opportunity of scoring 101 points exactly. And then still looking to try and make it on the pink, as I say. So getting on the reds into the left corner. What can he try and achieve with this one? Going for it into the right corner. Plenty of power behind the cue ball as well. Drops that red in nicely. Now about to be lined up for the blue to be taken here probably, which is going to be for 100 points exactly. So then, the black that he's going for, which is a little bit weird, and it was a difficult shot to be taken on, but at the end stage, he will be down to a break of 70 points, so it doesn't quite make it down to the top 5 breaks that he had, but still, he certainly is going to make it down to 6 frames to 8 of a showdown here, and Yize has got that 3 frames of a gap to be reduced down to just 2 right now, and Sean Murphy still finds himself to be in a position of trying to take this one down as competitively as he can. Whether he's going to be able to do that throughout the remainder of 3 frames, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, it is going to be Sean Murphy 6, and it is going to be Yize still very much sat on 8 here, and still looking to try and extend that further down the rankings. But for now, he's still finding himself in a decent position there, Yize, because as long as he understands that, and I hope he does, he's still finding himself to be in a place where he'll be very much down to a good opportunity to be taking those frames away there. And when he does leave a chance over to, the likes of Yize or Sean Murphy, you'd always expect one of them to be able to utilize that chance away. So whether that will be down to them or it will be down to something else, you will very much have to wait and see on that one. But for now, he's still looking to try and produce the best snooker that he's played for. He has managed to show glimpses of that beforehand, but now he needs to very much have the best 3 frames that he's played so far today. And still 2 hours in, we've played 5 frames, which is not too bad at all. And still looking to try and get something close to the 3-hour mark, I would say. And then we're going to be looking at finishing this session away, which is going to be not too bad at all. Trying to finish off, before something like 10:30 or something. And now we're about to get the start of the frame number 15 underway. Rob Spencer is going to have the black to be placed next to the, the main bunch of those reds. So once again, getting the pink to be out there. And now, this time around, it'll be down to Yize. Take a break-off shot. And still very much make sure that he will be coming down to a good opportunity for him to be the man. Take a good start. Still looking to try and make it down with a good break-off shot. As I say, previous time of asking, taking a really nice long shot with the raise into the left corner, but was very unfortunate with seeing the cue ball to going off there as well. But, of course, he is going to be very much part of the game, and probably good for you to try and win one of those frames and lose another one, which is still disappointing, but at the same stage, you're always going to have a bit of a rough patch period in the final, best of 35 frames, but well, it seemed like he hasn't had the break-off shot to have been played perfectly according to the plan. Now, is Sean Murphy going to be able to take this red away? He will. Where's the cue ball going to finish for him? I tell you what, it won't be in the pocket, which is already a nice start, but he won't be lined up perfectly for the brown or yellow. So it does seem like it's green or nothing for Sean Murphy. Played that one a little bit too close to the front jaw, but still managed to get a real nice contact point. And now, can he take the green away? 6 out of 8 breaks. We've seen an attempt conceded from Yize. Well, the phone's gone off. Now, security. Security is going to try and get it one out here. There was a warning, to be fair. There was a warning. So just a bit of a pause here. Oh, that's going to be out. Well, Sean Murphy's going to try and take his time here, so there's going to be a little bit of a delay. Well, I'll tell you what, the brown into this very much left middle. Once again, a guy in the audience is evacuated. Yes. Well, what can he try and do here? The green is such a brilliant reminder of what happened to the brown after such a good long red. Or is he going to be too close to the left? Is he going to be too close to the left side cushion? No, he won't be. It will be really, really nice shot there from Sean Murphy. Tried to take all the pace away from him. And now he's going to be lined up for the red to be taken into the left corner. He has left himself with a bit of a mid-range shot here to be taken. But, always trying to take that extra bit of pace away. And he will be down to, 4 points of a break here. Looking for a red to be taken into the left corner as well. Trying to stay on the black to be taken now into the right corner. And play the black to be taken into the right part of the table. So he should have the angle to try and force this one to be taken on the red from the right side of it. Although he's gone for a backspin shot, which clearly feels, he's going to be able to try and pot the red into the right corner anyway. Even with the black to be respotted here. So now just looking for this red to be taken into the right corner and play this one with a little bit of topspin. Once again, it can be down to the backspin if he feels like he's got the angle to try and just hold the cue ball there on the left-hand side of the black. Well, this is where the important shot is going to have to come in. What do you do here? Is he going to try and play for the red? Yeah, he will. Way too, little of a swing for that to be heading into the back of reds. So a little bit of topspin again, which was never going to happen if he was trying to play that shot into the red. So you're always going to have to try and play that with the sort of backspin. Always played that one really nicely. Is he going to be on the black? I tell you what, that could be a brilliant shot, but has he played this one too well? Well, that's going to be disappointing for Shaun Murphy. If he's not on the black, that was pretty much too well that he's played that shot here. Ooh, I tell you what, that's close. That's really, really close to be taking the black away into the right corner. I mean, the way that he's managed to spread those reds away from each other. Look at how much and how brilliantly those reds have gone away from the main pack. 3 to the left, 3 to the right, and still a couple of more in the centre as well. Well, what's your decision now, Shaun? He's gone for the black. He's made it into the pocket, and he deserves it. And he deserves it after such a good previous shot. Now, he's going to be getting himself through to 28 points of a lead, and still the man is back towards the table, and he's still very much in charge of what's going to be happening in this frame number 15. Too bad it was a beautiful firework of reds. Now, I'll tell you what, it doesn't seem like it was too bad, because at the end, he was able to take the black away, and now going for the reds into the right middle as well. A little bit of a rest shot, which once again, he just wants to try and make sure he absorbs the power here. Didn't want to risk it, and you can't blame him. But has he underplayed? Well, that's a weird shot, that is. I was just about to say he could have held the cue ball back there without needing to use the ball cushion. But at the end stage, feels like he needed to do that. And now he's going to have a chance of playing the green into the yellow pocket here. So he'll be down to a chance of rolling that cue ball in the gap of the left onto the side cushion, and the blue to be taken in his own spot. But ultimately, I mean, I was just about to say just focus on the pot there, but you can't be doing that, because he's going to be on the wrong side of the table in relation to left and right. And, well, that's disappointing. He's going to have to just roll that cue ball in behind the green. And that's really frustrating for him. And streakers are much rarer these days. I know exactly. You know, once again, back to that Ronnie O'Sullivan interview with Steve Davies, like, they were discussing the match then. It was probably the only thing they remembered from it. The only positive thing, as they all said, which was really funny. But, of course, it was down to a very negative thing there, because it does disrupt the rhythm. And, well, it's now going to be back to Yize, 29 points down in this frame number 15. It does seem like, you know, Shaun Murphy, despite having such a good shot that he's played into the bunch of reds, was still not able to hold on to that lead. And, you know, well, I mean, to the lead of the break there, had to suspend that one. And he will be down to a chance for Yize, of course, still to get himself out of a snooker situation, which is not easy. You know, Shaun Murphy played that shot for a reason, but once again, he felt like that was a bit of a caught in two minds there. Maybe took a little bit of more power away from that shot, and in the end, just being way too straight on that rate, and way too straight on the green, I should say. And now it's a brilliant swerve there from Yize, as long as he hasn't put that one too close towards the left middle, and he hasn't, so it's a really nice shot that he's played there. And now it'll be down to Murphy to try and exploit the red potentially available at the right corner. Hello, been an incredible final so far. Yeah, it's been really good. I would say it's been really, really good there. Some good breaks, some drama moments as well from the starting points. Not too many, you know, disappointing moments. A couple of flukes to be heading, you know, the cue ball alongside a really good pot on the red. But apart from that, it's probably all part of the game. I'll tell you what, Murphy's genuinely thinking about trying to take this one along the side cushion. It's going to be a brilliant shot if he makes this one in. Or this close. It's really close. But in the end, he was a little bit too close there. And, well, has he managed to cover up the pocket? I mean, it's really refreshing to see, by the way, players going for a shot like that and making sure that there's going to be some great entertainment there to be provided to the audience. Because here, it's not going to be a stalemate when you've got a red over the corner pocket. One of the players will have to take it. And now, back down to Yize. What can he try and manage here? Can he try and exploit the extension of that pocket? Clearly playing that into the left. Oh, that's a weird shot from me. Surely he had to play that with more power. I mean, he was trying to be clever there, but he should have realised he had to be taking that shot with more power. You could see the bounce that he got of the cushion just wasn't enough there to get it into the path of the other red. And he was surprised with it, but, you know, it was the wrong shot to miss at the end. But right now, it will be very much down to Shaun Murphy to come back to the table. And once again, that, you know, being risky does actually seem like it's very much the thing that gets promoted here, because every single time you take a risky shot on, even if you don't make it, and you're the one that initiates the, very much the get out of stalemate point, it seems like you always get the good recognition of getting another chance here. But what has he done here? I mean, what has he done? Wow, that's such a great chance flown away out of the picture. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I was just saying about it, I'm working tomorrow, going to miss the third session. Well, the thing about this, Lutetia, is that because the final is still in the UK, you've got bank holiday tomorrow on a Monday. So, yeah, listen, it's one of those. It's one of those where, bank holiday in the UK doesn't really mean that it's going to be like that across the world. But, of course, it's very much going to be aimed towards, the home audience. But I'll tell you what, Shaun Murphy's just played that massive blunder there. I felt like the previous shot, at least he had a little bit of sense. This time around, the mistake is going to be a costly one. And tomorrow we should see the really big breaks. Well, maybe, but yeah, really, yeah. But you'll be back for the fourth session. Well, it should be down to 7 p.m, which is 8 p.m. in France. So unless you're going to be on a night shift, you should be able to make your way back. But of course, it's a problem with the fourth session. You may not always see it. And if you do see it, you never tend to see it with the full extent there of those 10 frames to be available. But I mean, when was the last time that we've seen 18-16 of a final? And it's on the postcard, really, because it wasn't down to 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18 probably, where Mark Williams missed that pink into the corner. Was that where we've seen 18 frames for play 16? Because Higgins wasn't too far away from a decider, but in the end, that brilliant clearance from Williams make sure that he was going to be getting himself through and over the finish line. So yeah, I mean, that of course would make it down to very much down to the last 3 frames for you to see in the fourth session, training on Monday at 8:15. Ooh, it's nasty that. But once again, training is one of those things there, you can't really be missing it, so you're going to have to try and multitask. As long as you're going to be on the treadmill, you can always try and put this one as a phone on top of it. But of course, I assume it's going to be a lot more complicated for that. And I'm only messing with you. Arriving at 10 p.m. Ooh. Listen, if it's going to be one of those Mark Cullen against Yize performances, then we could have still seen, very much you come down for the second frame to start. But at the end stage, you probably should have delayed the training for when was the second session of that match? It probably was on Friday. So yeah, that's what you should have done. Hopefully we'll have a decider. Well, he's the player of the tournament. For now, it seemed like he's player of the frame, because after that, probably the first mistake I'm not really count as one for Shaun Murphy, but now it does seem like he's getting himself closer and closer towards the number 9, which is going to be very much the lucky number in in China, but ultimately it's down to 8 and 9. But Nia, you've got a really good chance of trying to guarantee yourself to be the man leading before the third session, which is going to be a great boost to your confidence, because Shaun Murphy he said he had a couple of really bad hours of sleep when he was 2 frames behind of John Higgins. Well, he's going to find himself to be at least a frame behind if Yize is able to take those reds away. He needs probably 4 more of those, because he's now going to be 10 points clear. He's got 3 more reds in the open play. So 3 more reds on the pink is going to be equal to 21 points. So that gets you 31 ahead. Yeah, he's going to have to take 4 more reds away. So 3 more in the open play and 1 more to be taken away from the side cushion. So not impossible, but, seen easier missions to be failed. And now just looking to try and make it down to the black into the right corner. Plenty of backsmen on the cue ball. Try and take that one carefully away towards the left side cushion. And now getting himself through to a chance of taking the red away into the right corner here. So 18 points of a lead. And still looking to try and make it down on the pink here. Trying to play through this shot on the pink and get the other red to be slightly further away from the line. Just so you're not going to be in a position where you're going to have to try and bridge over there. Come on, work. So 57% of you think that Luca Brissell won't be back to being a great player. Once again, 220 people have voted for that. So I'll tell you what, I mean, it's a bit of a shame that for Luca, but I was just about to say I would probably be putting that one down to 65 to 35 for me personally, because he could have an odd tournament in there, but he's probably not going to be able to take it back to the Crucible because of the standard of play just being so different here. And You know, just because you've got someone like Yize that has been very much a standout player of the season there and a breakthrough player of the season, you could probably make a point to him as well. Because even though, you know, he hasn't really been to the stage of Lizowski, but I mean, to be fair, I mean, what's different about Yize and Jack Lizowski in terms of the player breakthrough of the season? Been to the finals, never won it before the start of the season, and now look at where Yize has managed to be, and look at where Jack is finishing the season. Mark Allen lost because of self-confidence. Murphy going to lose also for the same reason, who is very sharp and focused. Well, I feel like Murphy's not really going to be losing confidence just yet because, well, he's still such a massive 2 shots there for Yize to play. He's trying to get in behind those Reds. He's not perfect at one of them. Well, this is exactly the shot that cost Ronnie in that frame against Higgins for the 10-6 of a gap, or 9-7. Well, you just feel like it's going to be another twist. Is he going to be here, though? Or is he going to be coming back to the next frame? The line is good. The line is really good. He's walking towards the blue. That's going to be straight into the pocket that he goes. And now 32 points of a lead here for Yize. The blue will take him down to 37 points of a lead and make sure he'll be very much down to the red to try and get himself away from needing snookers. So they're playing the blue and just trying to be carefully lined up for the red now to be taken. He's going to try and play this one with power, but ultimately, as I say, there's not going to be too much pressure on this one involved. Murphy's super confident and experienced. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like we're finally seeing the Yize that I thought we were never going to see in this particular tournament, because I thought we've seen enough of him. And it's the flair, it's the high-scoring breaks, it's the brilliant break building, it's fantastic long raids, and it's that ability to have just about enough points to get you over the finish line, which is what he's done here. You know, 66 plays 29, and Murphy's now going to find himself 37 behind with 35 at the table. You know, it's a decent line for trying to take that red along the side cushion, and very much put it down to the shot of the red to be taken. He does want to avoid the cannon on the green, although it probably worked out better for him at the end. And he's going to get the snooker lines up in behind the brown. Let's see if Yize is going to be able to try and avoid hitting the side cushion first. Trying to swerve around the brown here. Put plenty of serve on this one. So let's see what's going to happen here. And he's got that one really well. And he's nearly got the red to be cannoned towards the right corner as well. So then, as I say, played that shot really well and gives the turret back down to Sean Murphy. And this is just his first final. Is the reason I don't think Xington will dominate, at least not alone. Well, I'll tell you what, they may be taking it down in pairs there. And you can see that point where, because such an easy transition onto the collet has gone so badly wrong for Sean Murphy. And then he was forced to be playing a snooker in behind the green. And Yize was able to swerve around the green, try and get himself lined up for the reds eventually. And, well, yeah, of course, that was a mistake from Sean Murphy, which, you know, he's taking the red along the side cushion. But at the same stage, you know, he left Yize with a red to be taken off the other red with the extension of the pocket, but didn't manage to do it. And then Murphy makes a horrible blunder, puts the red to be over the corner pocket, and that eventually was the reason why Yize is going to have 66 next to his name. And Sean Murphy is still going to be very much back down on 29, but it's not over just yet. It's only one snooker needed. We've seen plenty of those overturns beforehand, even at the Crucible. Even, I mean, it has some high stakes matches, some high stake frames as well. Now Yize is having a look at the position of the reds that he's looking to try and take on towards the ball cushion here. But well, let's see if he's going to try and make this one towards the ball cushion. I mean, it's not an easy shot to play by any stretch of imagination. Is he going to be able to try and swerve around the brown? Oh, I'll tell you what, that was close. That was really, really tense for him. And he's just about flicked on the red towards the green pocket, but that was certainly not comfortable for him. And of course, he was going to be risking of leaving away a free ball if the contact wasn't made. But yeah, I mean, you feel like that was certainly going to be... He was trying not to get too close to the brown, which, of course, if you touch the brown, you can't do anything with it. And you'll be very much back down to, you know, a shot for Murphy to probably have a nice situation of you know, once again, the free ball may come into play, may not. But at the top end of the table, you're going to have the green over the corner pocket. And, you know, he's going to have such a great chance of trying to make things right there for himself. Meanwhile, Yize is going to try and go for the reds into the left corner, and he's going to take that one away once again. As I say, brilliant when it comes down to, he was a couple of points clear of needing a snooker there for Murphy, and now he will be coming back to 9 frames to 6 to be the advantage for Yize. And look at that red. It does remind you of the red that Sean Murphy was taking himself, and in the first frame of the entire match, but right now he will be very much back down to the 15 frame to be made and 2 more frames to be played. And I'll tell you what, I was genuinely concerned that we may have a situation in our hands where Sean Murphy is the one that having 11-6 of a lead after the second session. But for now, it does seem like the man that is going to be doing this is going to be very much, well, having a passport of China there next to his name, because he's going to have a blue to be taken for a little bit of exhibition to be played. And still looking to try and go for that ball, for the blue to be taken into the right middle, and still get yourself to be lined up nicely for the pink to be taken into the corner pocket. And then he will be back down to the black to be taken into the corner, which he may still bother about. A break of 31 points to finish it off, and still he finds himself to be less points that he scores over the course of the match than Sean Murphy. Incredible. But now he will be back down to Yize to stay in charge of the match, at least for 2 more frames, as he now leads Sean Murphy by 9 frames to 6. And he still finds himself to be very much in the position of trying to take this one away from Murphy even more. Thankfully, Murphy will have to concentrate on his game and winning frames rather than trying to be the people's hero. The Sean Murphy show, it is not. Well, listen, it's one of them things there where you say it's brilliant when he's working in your favour. It's not really going to be brilliant when you're not playing well. But he seems to have tried to go back on that, but right now he's going to have a lot of resistance from Yize's point of view as well, because he's not really going to be interested in all that nonsense. He's going to try and just focus on the bottom line being, he's still very much looking to try and battle it to the end. Whether Murphy will allow it, don't know. Whether Yize will allow that, don't really know. But for now, Yize is going to be halfway into the trophy to be his for the taking. Of course, it's going to be the easy half, but at the same time, he now finds himself to be in a position of, Murphy's going to have to come and, dig really deep to try and come back from this one. Shot of the tournament could have been all Yize shots. Well, probably not that relevant here, because I'm pretty sure there was a shot from the tournament of Hossein Faye to be taking a red into the left corner. That was a really good shot. There was a couple of brilliant snookers to be lined up from Mark Cullen of a Yize as well on the pink and the black. So that was a brilliant shot that he managed to get him to. So, at the end stage, I'll still probably say that there is going to be some, common sense there. He can't just have a player that has managed to reach the final, nearly said win the whole thing. He hasn't done that yet, and he's not even too close. But, you can't just say that. The players are playing well. He's in the final, and it comes down to him to be very much the man to try and take it away from everyone else. It doesn't work like that. It never did. It never will. It's very much going to be spread out across who's been the best at what particular part of the match. Because for me, the individual performance of the tournament, I've been consistent with it, and I'm going to stick to it for now. I've got three plans, but let's actually do a poll on that as well. What do you think has been the match of the tournament? I'm just trying to think on what is going to be the third one. Get your ideas in, by the way. Match of the tournament. Because I've got 2 in my head. You're going to have to give me another one. Murphy versus Zhao. Vafaye versus Trump. And give me a couple more. Give me a couple more on that one. Right then, Sean Murphy to try and take it as a break-off shot once again. Very much taking his wide line out there and still positioning himself nicely. And we can make it down to the semi-finals, to be fair. So we could just make it down to 2. Ronnie versus John. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. I don't know how I forgot about that one. It was a good match. I probably wouldn't say it was, as high quality over the course of 3 sessions, but still, it's a fair point. Give me one more. Or is that going to be fine? Just do 3. I'm thinking any more. And the quickest, John Higgins versus Ronnie was good. Mark Selby against Yize. It was a decent one as well. Mark Allen against Nah, Mark Allen against Yize is going to be the most dramatic match, but it's not going to be the best match, I would say. Let's try and stick with those three, and then we can always just try and add more into it as well. So vote in, let me know. But because I'm curious about it. I'm just going to be, as I said, it's not going to be Watchalong versus Higgins for me because I feel like there was plenty of quality during certain spells of it, but I wouldn't say it was the best match overall. I mean, it was a really good match, but I would say that the other one is going to be a little bit better for me as well. So let's see on what you are going to think about it. Meanwhile, Sean Murphy's going to think about the next safety shot for him to try and play and get himself through to a line of taking those reds away. Just get that cue ball to keep on rolling from the left side. And well, once again, he's going to have a bounce of the white and potentially leaving out a red to be taken here for Yize. Is he going to try and find that brilliant corridor again, which it just seems like he was able to find at Higgins versus Murphy? Nah, once again, I feel like, I mean, it's not bad. I would say it's been better than Mark Allen against Yize, to be fair, from purely the quality point of view, but it's still, something doesn't feel right about that one because I feel like, unfortunately, yeah, and I'm going to stick with that, unfortunately for me, so many of those frames were made of mistakes. You know, you want to be very much seeing Murphy versus Zhao wasn't made on purely mistakes. It was purely down to brilliance of the players. So, you know, it's not a mistake that Murphy versus Zhao winning. You know, Faye against Trump is going to be joined with Higgins versus O'Sullivan. So let's see if that he's going to be staying like this, because for me, it's going to be down to, I mean, it's difficult to say, you know. Higgins against O'Sullivan is going to be number 3. Surely Yize is not looking for the red into the right corner. I mean, that is absolutely criminal. And he should, well, he's not on the black, so he's not really criminal. Or I'll tell you what, he's in trouble now. Well, tell you what, he's genuinely finding himself in the world of trouble here. I mean, that is such a good shot that he's taken into the corner. But now, what is he going to be able to do here in relation to the colours? Which one of those colours is he going to declare? Brown, that he could see. And in the end, it's very much going to be down to a decent shot that he's played there. So Yize now getting himself back towards his seat and still looking to try and make it down to another couple of shots there for him to play. You know, and still very much looking on towards a decent opportunity towards those couple of frames to be played. But still looking on towards a decent opener there for him. Apologies for that, it just seems like it's lost the password again and he wants me to try and re-upload that one again. So now they're looking for a potential red to be taken towards the left corner here from Yize, as Murphy just seems to have played a simple enough shot there of trying to get the cue ball to be pointing towards the top part of the table again. If you enjoy the channel experience, do not forget to hit the like and the button subscribe to join future season notifications. Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for the great season, everyone, by the way. Ever since that match of Karen Wilson against Ronnie O'Sullivan in the Saudi Masters, which we're not going to see in the foreseeable future, it has been a great journey, full of great matches, a couple of them that I would want to forget, and yeah, a couple of them that I will remember for the rest of my life as well. Some brilliant deciders. You know, Ronnie versus Robertson was a great decider in Saudi. It was a great match overall. He's going to be a great contention for the match of the season as well. I think the Allen versus Hawkins was a good match to watch. Not to me, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, Andrew, I understand what you mean there. At parts it was, and I watched pretty much all of it, but there was just way too many mistakes, and I wanted a little bit of flair in that one. Aston Villa 0-2 versus Spurs, Bournemouth 3-0 versus Spurs. Don't be reminding me, as a Liverpool fan, don't be doing that because you're going to be gone. I'll ban you and you won't return for ages, man. Don't be breaking my heart even more. I'm only joking, but don't be doing that, seriously speaking, because that's heartbreaking. The fact that we won the season last year and we won the league and we find ourselves to be beaten by Man United twice, home and away, is just brilliant. Shot time anyway, 80 seconds now for Murphy. So, I mean, seemed like he would have had the ability to try and play that carefully on the right-hand side of the Reds, on the left-hand side, I should say, into the left side of it. But in the end, it just seemed like he doesn't have the ability to do that. And clearly doesn't want to take the power away from that shot anyway. So, a potential play into the right side is not going to be too bad. I mean, well, what sort of a line is this? What sort of a line is this? Murphy should have gone for that green. Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I agree. He should have gone for that green, absolutely. He should have not messed him up on the green first, but he should have gone for that green as well. I understand the point why he didn't go for that green, because the thing about him, you had to play that green so narrow and so thin that he was always going to send the cube onto the left side where it didn't have the reds. So he needed to be on the right side, which is why he wanted to try and be on the brown here, on the yellow, because it allows you to play from the left side onto the right side cushion and be on the right side of the table. He could not have been affording to be very much on the left side of it. But now, 2.5 minutes on this shot, and is he going to be just down to try and smash the reds and play the cue ball to be somewhat safe? It's a decent effort, that, but I still wouldn't say he's played that one too safe. Is Arsenal still on top? They won't be for a long time. To be fair, we had a lot of great matches this World Championship, brilliant play, long matches, a lot of deciders. As I already said, the audience has had his money well invested. Yeah, for now, Murphy versus Zhao is winning by 40%. By the way, 35% for O'Sullivan versus Higgins. And now, he'll be very much down to... I mean, I can't believe I've missed that Murphy potted the red. On that smash of shots there, I didn't realise he managed to pot the red. I was so busy watching the cue ball, I didn't actually realise there was one of those reds to drop in. Yize once again just having a look. You know, it's going to be very late in the UK, so he needs to make sure his vision is not going to get too blurry. Was very Luca, this Murphy shot. Well, I'll tell you what, Murphy going for a pull break, it certainly was the case. And now still looking to try and make it down to the reds to be taken into the left corner here, but, I mean, what can you play in relation to those type of shots that Yize? Well, it's not going to be easy, I'll tell you that for free. But can he try and do the reverse shot on what Murphy's done beforehand? Just drop that cue ball to be lined up for the black to be taken. Well, he's going for another shot, but this is going to be such a do or die there for him. Can he get that cue ball to be through the gap? It's going to be a lot more, you know, it's going to be a lot more experienced and a lot more serious than trying to get the pot in. And in the end, he wasn't able to get through the gap. He wasn't able to pot the reds. And now he will be down to a long range shot available for Sean Murphy. So he's actually able to put himself to be in a position of being the favourite now for this frame. And still looking to try and end the session on the high and get it back down to 9 frames, place 8. Speaking of that, who do you think will be a great pool player? I don't really play pool enough though, and I don't really know enough about it to be saying that though. I mean, of all of them, but someone that can really win something. Man City will not beat Everton tomorrow 100%. Well, I'm pretty sure every single time someone says Man City are not going to win 100%, they win 100%, but I'll have to wait and see. They do need to try and bring that goal difference slightly up there as well, because I know they do have 2 games in play, 2 games in hand. Brilliant long-range shot from Murphy. Now is he on the yellow to be taken into the right middle? He is. So he played that one really, really well. And now he's still going to try and bring that cue ball to be positioned for the reds to be taken into the right middle. So it's not too bad. But once again, those type of shots are the ones where sometimes it could be a real killer for you. And these are the ones that can still cost you, despite they, you know, looking so effortless and so simple. Sometimes these are the ones that cause you the most trouble in those snooker frames. But that one was taken very clinically into the right middle without touching the jaws. You need to slow down the replay to understand what Murphy's done. Very strong and impressive. Yeah, I probably need to be doing that as well, because as I say, I was looking at the cue ball to, let me have a look, because I'm watching it on the stream, so I should be able to do that very quickly. It's about to play the blue. Let's have a look. So, Murphy, going back to the stream. So, just looking at this one. Try and go 10 seconds further. I'm going to lose a little bit of time, but just want to see what's going to happen here then with Murphy. So, yeah, he's looking for the line. And now, so, backspin on the cue ball. Played that with so much power. And I still don't see where the red, by the way. I still don't see him potting a red. Well, I'll tell you what. He managed to pot something anyway. Back down to the blue that he's taken. And he's still going to be on the red. Yeah, I'll have to be shown in the replay out there. Brentford home and Bournemouth. Bournemouth will be tricky. To be fair, Brentford have been playing pretty well this season. And, yeah, it's not going to be easy for Man City. But I suppose nothing is easy when you get yourself through to 33 games played and 5 more. So, well, it'll be down to them to try and do it. To try and make another bottle job for Arsenal. For now, looking for the blue to be taken once again. And there's slight problem for Murphy. Let's see if he's going to try and fix this one, by the way. Can he try and go for the ready to the left corner, the closest one to the, the blackable cushion? Well, it seems like he's going to go for another short selection here, which is interesting, because he's going to have that black to be unavailable into the left part of the table. And because of it being unavailable into the left part of the table, it makes it very difficult to try and get the black to be lined up on. Oh, a little bit underplayed. And that's going to mean that he's got a difficult shot on the red here to be played. Well, it feels like sometimes Murphy just needs a really good shot there to be played well. A really good shot to be played well. Once again, I want to emphasize. And he pots that shot, but he doesn't play well. And it sort of creates a bit of a chain reaction for him where he didn't play one shot well. And then he's going to have to play another shot really well. And he doesn't do that. And he creates that issue to be further and further away. Arsenal drop points at West Ham. Got no clue, I'll be honest with you, but they might drop points somewhere, but it may also come down to just the goal difference. Oh, it's a red to be missed by Sean Murphy once again, not being able to finish off those clinical chances. And now Yize is going to be absolutely thriving for getting a chance away and trying to make sure he will be the man to try and put some real pressure on Murphy, because I tell you what, 10-6, he ain't going to be a joke. He's going to be a real problem there from Sean Murphy to try and recover. Now, could it be the red to be played into the right corner? He's played that one so much power. He nearly fluked it into one corner. Is he going to fluke it into the other one? Wow, he's nearly fluked it into two different corner pockets. But in the end, it's now going to be down to still an easy red to be taken for Sean Murphy. And, well, you feel like, what happened there on the reds? Nearly got into the right corner with a natural pocket that he's played for. Then nearly got into the left part of the table. Got back to the right corner, nearly dropping to that one, and stayed over the corner pocket there. But, they could win the Champions League while PSG and Bayern are great. They show some bad defending. Yeah, but Arsenal are not going to win the Champions League, because PSG or Bayern are going to stop them 100%. They have to be Atletico first, because it's very much Arsenal against Arsenal. If you know anything about Atletico, but yeah, Atletico have been there to try to make it to the final. If it wasn't for Real Madrid, they would have won the Champions League a couple of times as well. But for now, it's going to be down the chance for Murphy here to be taking red away. He's got a choice here to make. Does he go for the shot into the left middle and play for the blue? Keep that red away over the corner pocket. Of course, he doesn't want that red to be too much of a problem for him, because right now, I'll say it is a little bit of a problem, because it prevents Murphy from heading for the black to be taken into the right corner of the table. A team from my country won after 40 years. Arsenal smashed West Ham at London Stadium in the last 5 seasons. Come on, Murphy must clear up. Exactly. So both of those things, I would say West Ham don't really have a good record against Arsenal recently. And also Murphy does absolutely need this frame, because you're getting down to, 10-7 is not going to be a disaster for him. 10-6 would have been, because it leaves a chance for 11-6 to be available. But for now, it will be down to Murphy to try and close the gap down. Make it very much down to a black to be taken here into the left corner, and just try and have a very clean break now. As long as he's not going to have any issues, it usually doesn't seem like there's going to be a problem with that. But at the same time, we've seen plenty of times for Murphy where it seems like the position is easy, but the final execution is not quite there. Bayern Munich versus Arsenal final. I'll say that, but I know what you mean is Arsenal. Yeah, but listen, it's down to joking side of it, but it's also down to I haven't seen enough of the Arsenal this season to be actually be telling you about it, because I'll be honest with you, I don't enjoy watching them play, because it's just so boring. And it could be one of the matches where they play really, really well and attacking football, but in the other matches it's just like bleach my eyes. How do I find the remote? How do I switch this off? And how do I not have nightmares after this one? So yeah, it's just a little bit of a shame for a Liverpool fan to be enjoying to be watching Man United, because you don't really know what's going to happen and you still hope them to lose desperately. Or, of course, when you watch the, Man City, because you never know what's going to happen in that match, but you always know that Man City are going to come out on top, and not enjoying to be watching your own team because of how bad we play, of how disorganised, of how we don't know what our best 11 is, of how we start Gakpo every week, and when he turns up with a goal, even though he was into the empty net as today, and he's just changes at nothing, man. But anyway, it's going to be a rant for another day. For now, Murphy's about to take the frame ball, and he does it. Well, now this is going to be the shot which will still feel like a great relief there for Sean, because now he'll be a current break of 42 points, which will get him to 65 points ahead. Still looking to try and take it with a rest shot now into the right corner, and still having 51 points ahead of himself. Ooh, how has he missed that red? How has he missed that? It's not going to matter, to be fair, because I feel like Yize is not really going to fancy his chances, and he'll stay in his seat to try and make it down to another frame shootout, and he will be Sean Murphy 7, Yize 9. One more frame for us to witness, everyone, and then he'll be very much back down to bedtime for everyone here as well at Sheffield, because Sean Murphy needs to try and get himself through to 8 frames to be won. And I tell you what, after being 9-6 down, after being 5-8 down, it wouldn't be a bad scoreline for him at all, because ultimately he always found himself on the back foot from the get-go of the session number 2, but Arsenal may win nothing. But yeah, you know, they were heading for a quadruple before they lost the FL Cup final, the Carabao Cup, and then they got eliminated by Southampton, I'm pretty sure it was, in the FA Cup as well. It may have not been Southampton, but it may have been someone else. But I remember they lost 2-1. And, you know, quadruple all of a sudden becomes a double, and it's the most, you know, 2 most difficult trophies for you to try and win. They had such a comfortable gap to Man City, and now if City win their both games in hand, which is still a bit of a variable, but then it'll come down to goal difference, which if Man City, of course, win, it means they boost their goal difference, so it should be even closer at that stage. But that win of 3-0 against Fulham may actually be able to take them over the finish line. But once again, you never quite know with Arsenal, and it may still come down to Aguero, which, you know, I don't really care because I'm not a Man United fan, but I bet that's going to hurt. But at the same time, I feel like those type of matches from Arsenal are going to be actually trying to score some big points. Honestly, last time they got to the final, the opponent was Barcelona with Ronaldinho. Well, yeah, I mean, I can't say I remember that one because I started watching football in 2014, so I'm pretty sure I know which one are you talking about. I've got no clue which ones it was, but at the same time, it will be very much down to you know, a great opportunity for, was it 1-0 Barca against Arsenal? I can't remember which one it was, 2008, something like that. Arsenal win 4 out of 4 games in Premier League. Well, 2006, well, I wasn't too far away. 2006, yeah, because I know 2005 because we won that one in Istanbul where Shevchenko, it's so funny that to be a Liverpool fan but having a Ukrainian legend of Shevchenko to be missing a penalty, so it's so weird to be celebrating that, but I was when I rewatched it. Then of course Milan took revenge on us in 2007, and in between it would seem then Barca managed to beat Arsenal in 2006. Only time they reached the final. It should be as well. Oh, 2-1. I thought it was 1-0. Maybe thinking about something else. Maybe thinking about Barca against Man U, though. Was that in 2008? The one against Milan is the best final ever. Yeah, that was brilliant, though. That was brilliant. The fact that we were 3-0 down. Anyway, we should try and focus. We've got the World Championship final in our hands. Come on. We can try and talk about that when we're doing those little, you know, just chatting streams. But we've got one more frame. And let's try and go for the red here with Yize, because he'll go for this one into the corner. If he's going to be able to pot it, it's going to be another variable. But now, can he play this with plenty of backspin? Oh, did he not play that well? That's going to be a horror show for him. Well, he's left this one on the plate for Murphy now in relation to how many loose reds they're going to be. And it's only the starting point. So then, trying to go for the reds towards the left corner, missed that one by a mile. And now he's going to have plenty of those reds to be available for Sean Murphy to be taken. Sorry, yes, go on, Sean. Yeah, but it's down to me to try and do that. I was the one that started it all. And yeah, Sean just looking at the reds at the left corner. I mean, he's got a good chance to try and score 40 points here with 5 reds that he's got available. 5 reds, 5 blacks. You know, 38 if one of them is going to be the blue. Because I'll probably say there is a little bit of a gap from the pink to the reds, which I would actually say is not too bad, but it's not too good because at the same time, you can always catch the pink very thin, and because of there being a gap there, he's having a look towards there. I'm not really understand what he's having a look towards. Maybe a little plant of reds that he wants to make sure if he does hit the reds from the blue, he'll be going nowhere near the pocket. Of course, that could change your mind as well, because if you feel like the red's going to be heading anywhere near the pocket, then it could, of course, very much flick your mind to be having to play the shot from the black, which sometimes for me, I always prefer to be doing that from the blue because for me the percentage is always going to be in players' favour. Now then, trying to go for the red into the right corner. Play the shot with plenty of backspin. Oh, decided to be against that. I mean, I can't blame him. He's going to go for a shot on the blue, would seem, and play that really well in relation to it. Was difficult to try and be on the top side of the blue here, but he played that with plenty of spin and a little bit pushed through the shot, and now still nicely on the blue. A couple of more reds to be taken into the right corner, and still making sure he's got the cue to keep on running towards the red, taken into the right corner. So now then a shot which will allow him to be taking this cue into the red and still play plenty of power behind it as well. So just trying to get that red to keep on rolling and make sure you'll find the back of the pocket here, as he allows himself now to stay on the black and try and take that one away into the left corner. Position himself to be on the left hand side of those reds and still looking to try and take that one away into the bunch. Pretty much, I mean, that was a little bit too thin for me, and may have been too thin for Sean as well, because look at the way that he's got the position on the red. He's clearly underplayed for it, and to me, if you try and go back to the formula, no, to be fair, that's a little bit weird because he wasn't really playing it into that part of the pocket which would have influenced the shot. But once again, brilliant recovery shot and a fantastic shot there by Sean Murphy that allows him to still be perfectly on the reds, perfectly on the black now. And look at how many reds he's managed to bring out in open play. This is going to be by far the best chance for Sean Murphy to get it down to, well, very much, 18 frames of a shootout, because right now, pretty much 3 hours later, he's still got a great opportunity to try and get into the reds again, and that was the shot for the kill, because now every single one of those reds is going to be possible individually, and he's now going to have a great line of the cue ball to be lined up on the one towards the right corner, left middle, and even the right middle to be available to him as well. So plenty of short selections. The problem is neither one of them is going to be absolutely perfect, but at the same time, he's probably going to be, still spoiled for choice in relation to, he probably can just about play through the shot on the right corner. Make sure he's going to have a decent chance to be lining up for a shot to be taken into the left corner of the black. And then try and very much accelerate the cue ball away. Oh, he didn't manage to avoid the contact on the red. Should still be alright on the blue to be taken though. Should be, doesn't mean that he will be. And 39 points of a lead now for Sean. Can he try take the blue away into the left middle? Well-balanced scoreline. Third session will be crucial for either player. True. Excellent split for Murphy. He's done that twice again. Murphy to make a massive break. Well, he's about to try and go for that, but surely he's not trying to play safe. And a little nod of the head as if to say he is going to play safe here. Wow. That's going to be very disappointing for him. I mean, he knows what's at stake. It's a massive difference in between having 3 frames advantage for Yize or having just 1 frame to be in his favour. Well, does he not fancy himself to be taking the blue into, even if it's into the yellow pocket, surely you have to play this shot in. Well, it's going to be the green ball that he calls. He can't play this one aggressively, so he's going to have to be very much a defensive shot. Well, surprised. Very surprised with that one. I genuinely thought, without making it very much loud, but I thought he was going to make a century there. He's managed to do such a great job with trying to get those reds to be spread out away from each other, and now he'll be very much coming down to a shot to be taken into the left corner. Well, Yize comes back to the table and leaves himself with still a potential chance to go for a long red. Not being beyond the reach of the horizon. Is he going to try and go for the cross double first to try and get himself a bit of a warm-up? Oh, no, he's tried to take that cue ball to the black ball cushion. To be fair, play that shot well. Whenever you take shot like that away, you need to make sure the cue ball is going to be perfectly lined up for the cushion of the table. And now he'll come back down to a shot on the red to be taken into the left middle here for Sean Murphy. And still looking to try and work this one out. He's very patiently waiting his seat there. And still very much fancying his chance to try and get back to the table. But is that going to be the case? I have to find out what Murphy's trying to do, by the way, here. He's trying to go for a shot very much full in the face of the reds. And he's taking that one well. He's taking that one really, really well, because now he's going to have a chance to be leaving only a couple of those reds available to Yize. But also look at how close the cubel is now going to be towards the bolt cushion. So now there is going to be a potential of a great chance to be taking that red away in towards the right corner. Well, there is going to be room to try and get past the brown and pink here, try and take this red away and position himself nicely to be taking a line of a red to be taken into the right corner. Well, can he try and make this one in? Not sure about it, but at the same time, there's not going to be loads of a risk, but there's not going to be loads of rewards. If he plays this one too close to the black ball cushion, well, is he going to try and take this one on? He has tried to take this one on. He's played it brilliantly well. Fantastic shot there from Yize, but can he try and hold himself at the black? Well, that was brilliant, but he needs another great shot there on the black to be taken on. Can he make this in? Because surely this is going to be the punishment for Sean Murphy not to take his chance previously. Can he make the black in? He can. Brilliant. Brilliant from Yize. Now, is he on the red? He is going to be on the red into the corner. And finally, he's able to put himself with a chance to try and get the pedal to the floor. Because look at the way that he's got those reds to be set up ahead of himself. Exactly the same position like Sean Murphy had that previously. But, of course, it's now going to be a very different face to be back to the table. And still looking to try and make it on the red to be taken into the right part of the table. Looking to try and take the red away. Played with plenty of topspin on behind the cubel as well. And try and play through this shot so that he's going to be getting a decent chance. As he overcut this one slightly, he has, but still off the front jaw, the red disappears. Yeah, I was just thinking about what could he have played for there, because the blue seemed like it's going to be compromised by the reds into the right middle. So once again, not too confident. So goes down, goes back up and goes down again. So the red once again for a chance to try and take this one away from Murphy. He needs those shots to be keep on coming in. He has come in now. And is he going to be on the red into the right middle? He just needs to make it simple for himself. And for now, it seems like it's just one shot too far from making that simple to be the reality. And well, to me, he's going to be able to get through to a shot into the middle, which is simple in terms of the pot success. But what can he try and do in terms of the colours available? Well, I mean, he's hitting through the shot with power, so which means he's going to try and play for the brown or green. He's not perfect on the green, but he's all right on it, to be fair. You may actually choose in between the brown and green, not to be bad on either one of those. Session 1, 81% of the pot success for Yize, 92 in the second session. Well, you know, overall, it's going to be back down to 86.5, which is not too bad at all. You know, just looking for the green to be taken into the left corner. Still, incredibly, he does find himself to be pretty much 100 points down on what, you know, Sean Murphy has managed to make over the course of those 17 frames, but still with a great opportunity to try and make it down to 10-7 as the lead. Unbelievable stuff from Wood. That the first red and the black that he's taken were absolutely extraordinary, and the fact that he just keeps on doing those type of things just makes you wonder about the future of snooker, because if all the players are going to be doing that, sign me up. Give me a lifetime subscription, because this is going to be so great to be watching. You know, you're going to have to try and get a favourite like Ronnie was in 2014 for me, but tell you what, there's going to be plenty of players to choose from as it stands, because we've had so many qualifiers to break through to the main stage, and we've seen that with Yize. You know, he needed a couple of mistakes and a couple of bad losses at the Crucible in 23 and 25, and now the first win at the Crucible, and he finds himself to be in the final against the man that has managed to win it when he was 22 years himself. So, looking to go for the black now, in towards the left corner, and still trying to get slightly lower on the cubel here. Play for those reds to be taken, and now he's going to have a nice little line on the red to be taken into the left middle. There's not going to be a red getting in the blue. The pink is going to be out of position, but so it may. I'm not sure he's actually going to need the yellow there, which is going to be compromised by the pink, but probably going to get to that thinking stage now. Or he's going to be really close. You know, he's 4 points behind, taking the black away. Just having those reds through, it just seems like he's a little bit rushed, which is natural. He's going to be a little bit nervous. It's a massive frame for him, but so far, So far, so good. And making sure the black is going to be in, using plenty of that pocket as well to avoid that front jaw from being touched. Now heading for the reds to be taken into the right middle. He's 22, amazing, exactly. Just looking to try and make this red into the right middle. Plenty of pockets to be used again, but this time around, he's going to get one of those reds to be even further down the table. Let's see what sort of angle he's got on the black. He's got plenty of it to try and get around the reds. So needs to play the shot with plenty of power. And he's got that one to be working out perfectly well for him. So on the top side of a red to be taken into the left corner, Yize finds himself 11 points clear. And this is what Murphy's going to be thinking about. If he takes those two reds with the black, he's going to find himself 27 points ahead, with 27 ahead at the table. So it'll be very interesting to see. I mean, the yellow does spot into the, the green pocket. So it'll be very much coming down to that one as well. For now, top spin to be played. And a little bit of power in behind the red that he goes. Brilliantly taken again. So, is he going to try and play for the blue here? He doesn't need to be doing that with the black. He does guarantee him a respot, but it does make it a lot more difficult to try and make it down to, the yellow here. So, it's a decision. And to me, he needs to play this one with top spin. It seems like he's playing this one with backspin. No, he's just tried to play through this shot. Oh, I mean, doesn't want to be too close. I'm surprised that he's decided to go for the shot on the left-hand side of the blue. Because as long as that red wasn't straight, he could have played through the shot there. And even if he was on the, I suppose he can't really be on the top side of a blue, because that would be a very much game over in terms of trying to keep that break on going. But still, he's going to have to play the shot with plenty of accuracy. It's possible to try and get that cue ball past the yellow. Surely he's not going to try and make it through the gap. Oh, that was risky. But he seems to have worked out even better than I thought he could. Brilliant shot there. Trying to play that cue ball through the gap of the pink and the brown, which is probably, twice as little as the usual gap in between the yellow and brown spots there. But now taken beautifully well on the blue. Now he's going to be on the yellow for the frame. And now he's going to find himself 27 points ahead with 25 at the table. This has been a brilliant session there from Yize, and I'll tell you what, I said he's going to be fortunate. If he's going to be 9-8 behind, he's about to find himself 10-7 ahead. A brilliant session of snooker, and look at that red that allowed him to be getting this chance from Shaun Murphy. This has been absolutely extraordinary stuff from Yize, and for now, he does seem like he's turning this to be a real contender for the match of the tournament as well. He has Woody in his queue. Well, I'll tell you what, he must have something, because he can't purely be down to his ability, but he can, because now he's going to play for the black. He won't be a century break, but he still is going to be the fourth highest break of the match if he makes a black in, which of course he will. It will come down to a break of 91 points, and there is going to be a handshake in between Shaun Murphy and Yize, the referee as well. Well, was that a brilliant session of snooker? And well, has Yize done really, really good here. A break of 91 points to win it right to the death, and now he'll be very much coming down to still 30 points behind in relation to the points that he scored in relation to Shaun Murphy, but still 3 frames clear. 10-7. Wow, that was a great session, and not too sure. I was just sort of thinking about, there was a handshake, so this is certainly going to be over for the second session. I thought the crowd was still very much staying out there, but of course there's going to be a little bit of a pushing and shoving there. Well, total points 919 for Shaun Murphy. Yize is going to be sat at 887. Ball spotted for Murphy 260. Ball spotted for Yize at 254. Pot success 88% for Yize, 91% for Shaun. 74% for long pot success for Shaun Murphy, 66% for Yize, 81% for safety success for Shaun Murphy, 78% for Yize, 109 of a highest break for Shaun, and 103 for Yize. Shaun Murphy is leading in every single one of those stats, but he's 3 frames behind. Explain that one to me, and how on earth is Yize able to do it time and time again, where he comes back stronger, and now he puts himself to be in a position of some real control when he comes down to the third session as well. Yize showed some tremendous amounts of character strength, fortitude spirit after such short turnaround. He was brilliant. Great commentary again, mate. Catch you all tomorrow. Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you very much, everyone that has been tuning in. Feel free to be back for the third session. Now, this is going to be real tense. because unless Yize is able to win all of those 8 frames, which never say never with this guy, he will be down to the fourth session to decide on who's going to be the match winner. For now, thank you very much for everyone that has tuned in. It has been a great session of snooker, which has provided some great entertainment and certainly a little bit of an unexpected result as well. But now, 10-7, so much different from 9-8. Murphy fuming. He's absolutely going to be fuming, but he's got every reason to be. He's going to have to try and come back in the 3rd session and try and win a couple of those frames on the bounce as well. But for every one of you, as I say, thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much for all your activity in the chat. Feel free to be back to the penultimate session tomorrow, and then we are going to have the showdown finale very much late in the evening. It's going to be bank holiday in the UK. Feel free to tune into that one as well, and thank you for all of your support throughout the season, throughout the tournament as well. We're about to see on who's going to be making the headlines. Is it going to be Team UK back to winning the titles, back to Team England as well, or is it going to be China to try and make it back-to-back different world champions as well? It's not quite going to be the Crucible curse to be broken, but at the same time, it's going to be from a young man of Xiaoxington of 28 years of age to be to the 2nd youngest world champion ever in the history of the Crucible. Once again, thank you for all of you. Feel free to like on the stream and subscribe to the channel on your way out, and I'll see you all for the 3rd session, 1 o'clock tomorrow in the UK time. Keep watching and keep watching some great snooker as we've got in our hands for tomorrow. Stay tuned in. Once again, another huge thank you. Thanks for watching.